I'm already dying. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be at 100 today, so forgive me. All right. Oh, good. We're very. This is definitely the part of the. This is definitely a part I want to be at low energy for. Ooh, ooh boy. I am so. Oh, I'm so tired. Okay, I'm okay. I swear. For the first time in almost 4 months, I felt like the world was twisting. Who was it? Who had changed the world line? I didn't do anything. I hadn't interfered with the world. So why was the world doing this to me? I opened my eyes. Things had already taken on different colors. The world kept wavering until once again it had become fixed to a single point in time. I wasn't looking at a warm, cheerful party in the lab anymore. Oh my god. This is going great. I'm gonna roll today. I was outside. It was raining. The rain was falling on my face in drops so large that it hurt. It was a midwinter rain. It was freezing cold, and I could feel it sapping the strength from my body. My view stopped twisting. I was staring at the broad back of a man I didn't know. I could hear the sound of many boots stamping through the mud, mingling with the falling rain. The stench was terrible. The smell of sewage was so strong it hurt to breathe, and it was mixed with the awful smell of burning rubber and plastic. Where was I? What was I doing right now? Things around me had changed so much. I tried to understand the situation I was in, but my brain was having an awful time keeping up. When I stopped, a rough hand patted me on the shoulder encouragingly. I looked around to see a man my age, with a strong, powerful face. It was a face I'd never seen. I didn't know him, probably. The man was wearing the camo outfit and equipment I'd often seen the self-defense force wear on the news. He was carrying an assault rifle on his shoulder. There were 7 or 8 people around me, all dressed the same. They surrounded me in a circular formation and walked forward silently, as they kept a careful eye on the area around them. Oh my god. How does this game have such incredible music? How... And then I realized I was wearing the same camo uniform they were. Jesus Christ, it's so good, dude. It's got the fucking... It's got the leitmotif. Oh, God, so good. Holy shit. I touched my bicep to my cheek, to check. I'm okay, I can read. I touched my bicep to check. I thought... I first read that as I touched my bicep to my cheek. You know, like a normal person. I touched my bicep to check, but there was no muscle. It was flabby and weak. Unlike the others, I wasn't carrying any weapons. Then what was going on here? Right to Mr. Watch, but hi, also hi. No, that's understandable. Oh my god, just enjoy, just take a moment to appreciate the music. It's so fucking good. Screeching, oh no. Well, that's not new. I mean, granted, my Yuri's not here, so it's a little less unusual. Less unusual. More unusual. Anyways. It felt like these 7 or 8 tough-looking SDF guys were all guarding me. Since when was that? Since when was I that important? Still confused, I dragged myself onward. I know my PS5. No worries. That is perfectly understandable. I've been having a nightmare with technology lately, so this is hopefully this stream goes smoothly so I can escape for like a moment. Where was I anyway? Message of confusion. I missed a message of confusion. I don't think I saw that. Hey, Shadow Anime. Yo, indeed. Oh my god. Dude, I can't get over it. I can't get over it. Whoops. It was a long path filled with dark brown mud. Steelbook, nice. That's awesome. I think I've only gotten one steelbook in my entire life, and it was Persona 5. That's awesome. Way to go. The walls formed a tall silhouette to the left and right. It's totally worth looking for. I don't know where I'd find it. Is it in this chat or is it somewhere else? If it's somewhere else, I don't know. Technology. Oh god. The path was filled with garbage and concrete rubble, and sometimes we had to force our way past it. I looked up past the high walls. Despite the rain, the moon in the night sky was strangely red and a little too bright. It was thanks to the moon that we were able to walk down a path like this without flashlights. That's a good question. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. That was worth it. Sound. I heard a sound. It was the sound of water, and it's very loud in my ears. Ow. I looked over and saw a hole opened out in one of the walls. Filthy water was pouring out. The water formed dozens of little rivers that blocked our path. So that was it. This was the bottom of a river that had dried up. What looked like the high walls were the river dikes. That's so loud. Really? That's fair. Alright, have a good one. Hopefully you catch up soon. I would, nice to have you around again to keep an eye on my technical errors. Alright, have a good one. I turned toward the man who had spoken to me a bit ago and yelled so that my voice could be heard over the rain. I feel like I need to yell over the rain. That's so real. I can relate so hard to that. That's, yep. I still need to, like, I'm gonna turn this down for a moment so I can talk without having to talk over it. I've been trying to get around to listening to the drama CDs. I need to get to those because this seems so cool, but I just can't. I've decided to I'm gonna stream them. I didn't even think of that. It was recommended to me the other day. But I will do that probably after this game. Anyways, oh god, I don't remember where this was. Where was this? -9, probably. Does that sound right? I hope that sounds right. Five streams. That's so real. That's me with any TV show. I'm like, well, I missed the new one, and now I'm, no, you know what that is with me? That's me with, I was trying to, once upon a time, I was caught up with, Final Fantasy 14, the MMO. I was trying to keep up with the story, and I was like all caught up, and I was like, all right, cool. And then new stuff came out, and I was like, I'll get to that in a second, and now I'm miles behind. I'll never catch up, and I can't do it. It's too much. It's real. It's a real agony. I'm glad to hear that. I would hope that I am at least somewhat enjoyable to watch. You know, considering I'm doing this. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna continue. Oh, thank God the rain is over. Alright, is the volume sound right? Did I put it back to where it was? I didn't. I should have made a mental note of where it was before I changed it. Does it sound correct? But his words cut off there. Everyone seemed more tense than ever. One of them grabbed me and pushed me toward the side of the riverbed. Everyone put their backs against the wall and held their breath. That's fair. I mean, with that one, it was... Yeah, the rain was... I think the rain was supposed to be that loud, but yikes, that was not good. Yeah, at least the last Anonymous Code stream, it was the last one, so that's fair. Like, at least it was the last one, so... Didn't really matter that much. They took a while. Bleh. I can talk. I'm so good at talking. It's almost like that's like the whole aspect of this is talking, and I'm so good at it. I'm so skilled at the words. You know what's that? Okay. Anime Friday. That sounds fun. I should do something like that for myself, just so I can actually start watching a bunch of these animes. Should assist streams. I mean, hey, that sounds. I like. It feels weird. Like, I'm not trying to go down the self-deprecation line again, because I have that issue. But it's just it's so crazy to me that there are people who like what I do. It's crazy. Yeah, and so I want to be like, oh, that sounds like fun. But then I remember that it's my thing, and so I have to like reconcile that in my brain that like there's a like I do a good thing. It's crazy. Anyway, speaking of enjoyable to watch, I'm sure this rambling nonsense is super enjoyable to watch. I would carry on. One day, someday, I'm sure it'll happen someday. There will come a day where I can say that I'm proud of what I do and genuinely believe it. That is my goal, is to reach a point where I can be like, yeah, I'm good at this, and not have to qualify that with any sort of haha jokey joke. I saw a comment on I can't remember what it was. It was a comment on like some artist post, some like inspirational artist post, and someone commented something about like, you know, as an artist, and they put artist in quotes, and they were like, as an artist, I super feel this. And then someone else replied, Like, you shouldn't put that in quotes. Like, if you're an artist, you're an artist. You shouldn't feel the need to qualify that with quotations. Like, that really resonated with me, because that's kind of exactly what I do. I'm like, you know, I guess I'm technically an artist because I made these Kirby's. Look at these Kirby's. These are artistic as fuck. Anyways, I don't remember exactly where I was going with that, but that's the point. Dude, I'm so happy about the Kirby's. I'm so proud of the Kirby's. I'm also a streamer. Exactly. I need to not put that in my mind. I put that in quotations. I'm like, hey, I'm technically I'm a streamer. No, I am a streamer. I do my thing. Yeah. I'm doing my burst. All right, I'm gonna carry on with the video game that I'm streaming. Yes, you are absolutely the reason they're there right now, and I cannot thank you enough. I could hear the sound of a helicopter's rotors in the distance. No, more than just one. They were getting closer. I had no idea what was going on, but I could feel my heart start to beat faster. Past several meters of rubble lay an overturned car. That's true. I do have a regular schedule that I'm fairly consistent with. Sometimes I fuck up, but that's, you know, that's the odd point out, right? I'm still working on fixing my fucking capture card, so I'm gonna go now. Okay, fair enough. Have a wonderful day. Night. Evening? It would be evening where you are, right? It's like 5 hours, so it'd be like 8, 9? Yeah, have a good time it is. Action Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, good luck. I have not heard good things, but 20, gotcha. Have a good night then. Have a good night time. Alright. It must have fallen into the riverbed after the water had disappeared. The entire body was bent inward and the roof was completely crushed. That's a bummer. I hope the next. Yeah. Oh, I see. I thought you were talking about the night. Yeah. All right. Bye. I lay down in the stinking mud and slid into the shadow of the overturned car. At the same time, the FCF soldiers were issuing each other orders as if this was something they'd planned for already. 2 of them stayed by my side, and everyone else ran back the way we'd come. They all climbed up crevices and outcroppings on the wall, then disappeared over the edge of the dike and out of my view. Shortly after, I've never heard that. Is that's what these are? I've never heard that word for like rivers. Well, I'm gonna Google that just to make sure I'm understanding. It's just like the wall of the river? I guess like maybe a man-made river? I don't know. Give me a moment to Google this, because I am curious. River. Sometimes referred to as wing dams or spur dikes, are structures placed in a river to redirect the river's own energy to provide a variety of effects. Interesting. Levy. I've heard the word levy. Mainly from that one song. Anyways, shortly after. That's not the right tone for this. Those were gunshots. Not just a single shot from a handgun or anything like that. This was the sound of war. I could hear the helicopters get further away, drawn by the gunfire. In this world line, was Japan at war? The Third World War. I remembered Suzuha's words. I happened to look inside the crushed car. I could see the corpses of a man, a woman, and a small child hanging upside down, still attached to their seatbelts. They were all covered in dried black blood, They look like mannequins at a bad haunted house. Don't scream! And then I realized I'd been so focused on moving forward that I hadn't noticed what they were, but I'd seen similar mannequins sunk into the mud. I could see their arms, the bones and ragged muscle exposed to the air, reaching up to the sky as if seeking salvation. I put my hand over my mouth to stifle a scream. Those weren't mannequins.
今です。壁に沿って進んで。ルートを変えます。さあ、立ってください。
He pulled me up. My knees were shaking from shock and exhaustion.
仲間がソ連のヘリ部隊を引きつけてますが、それほど持ちません。早く。
ソ連?
My mind was dulled from terror, but it seemed like there was something off about what he just said.
しっかりしてください。あなたを守るために、すでに何人犠牲になったと思っているんですか。
俺を守る？なぜ？
理由は聞かされていません。でも、命を懸けて守れと自分は命じられています。それがこの国の未来につながるのだと。
A helicopter passed over the riverbed. The bright searchlights passed by for a moment, but thankfully the shadow of the dike hit us.
こっち。
The young SDF soldier, whose name I didn't even know, pulled me inside one of the holes in the concrete. When I looked closely, I could see that it was the entrance to a sewer. It was just big enough for a single person to pass through. Struggling against the flow of water that came up to my knees, I pressed on through the darkness. My sense of smell had already gone numb, so I didn't have to worry about the stench of the sewage. Once inside, we came to several branching paths. The SDF soldiers seemed to know which one would lead where, and they marched on without hesitation. And then we came out of the sewer and back into the riverbed. A riverbed. It was dried up, just like the one we'd just been through. Convenient, which means we don't have to draw a second one. Anyway, I'm kidding. Oh my god, I just can't take things seriously. I'm okay. I didn't know if it was the same river or another one, and the two soldiers didn't tell me. Either way, I was glad to finally be out of the foul-smelling darkness, and I tried to take a deep breath and fill my lungs with fresh air. But ain't no fresh air here, my guy. Halfway through, I realized that the riverbed smelled even worse than the sewer. I took an involuntary step back, and then another. The sight in front of me was just that terrible. What was once a riverbed was now filled with bodies. Some of them had been burnt totally black, so it was impossible to tell how much death lay before me. And in the distance, I could see what looked like bonfires. They were burning despite the rain. The fires were consuming the mountains of flesh that once were human bodies. Jesus Christ.
もうすぐです。きついでしょうが、走れますか。
The SDF soldier spoke to me, and then I came back to my senses. If it weren't for these two, I wouldn't have been able to stay sane. We ran through the riverbed, one of them in front of me, the other behind. I could hear the constant drone of the helicopters above me. Sometimes the searchlights got very close. Each time they did, I hid in the piles of bodies until they passed. I'd seen this many times before as I wandered through the world lines. I don't want to see that anymore. I had seen death. I'd seen the moments when people had died. But at the same time, I'd never experienced what happened to a dead person after they were left out for a long time. More than fear, more than sorrow, the first thing that hit me was the smell of death. The rotting stench ate away at my body, not my soul. My whole body was rejecting it. It made me feel sick. Thinking that way meant trampling on the dignity of the dead, but I couldn't help it. The Valley of Hinnom. I remembered that phrase. That was what the strange attacker had said that night when they came after Dr. Leskinen, Maho, and me.
たとえ固めであろうと陰の無の谷の炎に投げ入れられるよりずっと幸いに違いないのだ。
Alright, we're already at the point where I have chills. Like, this is fucking crazy. That valley was the origin of the word Gehenna, meaning hell. It was said that flames burned there every night, scorching the heavens themselves. Those who died merciless deaths with anger or misery in their hearts were flung into the flames, their souls becoming black smoke that rained hatred down on the land. What I stared at now was Gehenna. The two soldiers led me to a half-collapsed subway tunnel. The lights were all off because there was no electricity, but there were 3 armored cars in camo colors, with their headlights on to illuminate the way. They were four-wheel drive, off-road vehicles covered in thick chunks of armor, but I didn't see any real weapons.
ここから地下鉄内を通って埼玉へ抜けられます。入間基地はまだ無事と聞いています。そこまで行けば関東を脱出できるはずです。
関東を脱出？
話は向こうで聞いてください。とにかく急いで。
There were a lot of things I wanted to ask, but even as we spoke, I heard what sounded like gunshots outside the tunnel. The men forced me into the back seat of one of the cars.
それではご無事を祈っております。
え、あなた方は？
自分たちには別の任務がありますので。では。
The 2 soldiers who had brought me here saluted and then turned around and left the station. I felt like I was never going to see them again. The door of the armored car slammed shut with a heavy thud. The car's crew were SDF soldiers, just a little older than me. The diesel engine kicked to life, and the car raced down a tunnel that had originally been designed for trains. Of course, it wasn't a pleasant ride at all, but I didn't have any choice. There was no way I could tell them I wanted to go to Akihabara. I had no way to alter the world line. I had to survive in this hellish world. And to survive, I needed to do what they said. My wants didn't matter at all. I wasn't even allowed to express them. I just did as they told me and ran. It was all I could do. But I had no idea that it would take an entire month. Oh boy, here we go. Anonymous at Security Council. The story so far. The SSR starts experimenting with a time machine and America goes apeshit. Give me that time machine. USSR. I like how this still exists in this world. There's no... The world is fucked and the internet is still degenerate as shit. Give me that time machine, USSR. But I refuse! Eastern powers and Soviets get cocky. How's it feel to be you right now, huh? How's it feel? This brings us to the end of your regularly scheduled Cold War. USA, I'ma bomb you from Japan, lol. USSR, then we'll invade Japan. US, no, us. Oh shit, right now? The fuck is this? USSR is kicking ass. Hokkaido and NE Japan? I don't know what that is. Are they coming for northeastern Japan? Are they coming for central Japan now? People of Nagoya, GTFO! Amateurs who know nothing about strategy. Oh, this is from Captain Bajina. So they have like a official name. Amateurs who know nothing about strategy need to STFU. The SDF may look like they are retreating, but they've actually got a defense line at Mount Fuji. They're about to start a counterattack. The Mount Fuji line, Lamau, who the hell is dumb enough to believe the Japanese Imperial High Command ruffle? We better not start hearing calls for kamikaze pilots soon. Shut up, noob. Idiots like you are the real threat to Japan. Oh my god. What the fuck? Wait, what the hell happened to the collective right of self-defense? America's only interested in protecting Okinawa. So what the hell's the SDF doing getting sent off to Siberia? How are they supposed to protect the country? You protect it, Chicken Hawk. You want to go fight? You want to fight? Go volunteer. They say they aren't getting enough recruits. Are they going to start conscription soon, you think? What's the point of conscripting a bunch of fat otaku? They just get in the way. War these days requires professional soldiers. Says the fat otaku who doesn't want to go to war. There are barely any professional soldiers left in Japan. Our masters in America sent them all around the globe and then stuck them there. You guys will probably be getting your conscription notices soon. Good luck. I'm a chick, so I don't care. In other words, if we get a sex change, we don't have to go, right? The real enemies of Japan are its own citizens, huh, asshole? No, wow, this is longer than I thought it would be. So seriously, are we going to be split up like Germany? It's likely. They say that there's a provisional government forming in Okinawa. They're all set up to abandon East Japan and just have America protect the West. Those incompetents in the government might honestly do it. Is it really time to bash politicians? Is it really the time to oh my god. Is it really time? I can read it slow as shit. I still fuck up. Is it really the time to bash politicians? Traitorous shill. Traitor lol. Shill lol. Strategically, America can't let go of Okinawa, and Japan wants to keep some kind of government. That means making provisional government in Okinawa is the best option. You bashed the hell out of Okinawa up until now, and now you're telling me this? Shut up, traitor. So if I'm a traitor, what are you? If you're posting on @channel right now, that means you either fled the country or ran to Okinawa. Is this today's you don't get to talk thread? Oh my god. I just... It's so... The world is literally in fucking chaos and war. And yet, @channel never changes. KK? Lol. The reason it took a month to get to Okinawa was that we were losing the war. Supposedly, the plan had been to ferry me by plane to Okinawa once I'd arrived at Aruma base. But the constant bombing had slowed us down, and fuck. Like, it's close enough, and I should have just gone with it, but like, fuck. Slowed us down. So they gave up on the plane and decided I would escape to Kyushu by ground. All right, just... There was more than one attack. There was more than one attack by Soviet spies and assault teams. Some of the SDF soldiers protecting me died. But when I got to Sasebo, I was able to get on a maritime SDF escort ship and managed to escape to Okinawa. Why were they doing all this for me? No matter how many times I asked, no one would answer. Okinawa in winter was covered in thick clouds. Come to think of it, I hadn't seen a real break in the clouds for a whole month. I was thinking about that when I was loaded into a van with dark tinted windows that had come to pick me up from the port. I don't think they're clouds, my guy. I think it's probably like fucking smog, right? Inside the car was not only the driver, but a middle-aged man sitting in front of the passenger seat, in the front passenger seat. He was very short, perhaps only around 150 centimeters tall. I was about to be very confused because I was like, no, he's the taller one. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Japan. Passenger seat, over here. But he had the air of a military veteran, and even though he was fully dressed, I could tell he was extremely muscular.
岡部倫太郎君だな。私は防衛省中央情報保全隊の下山という。これから空港に寄り道してから彼らの沖縄防衛局へ向かう。長旅で疲れているところ申し訳ないが、もうしばらく我慢してくれ。
はい。
I'd heard that Tokyo had been destroyed. The major functions of the Japanese government were now headquartered out of the Okinawa Defense Bureau to allow for better cooperation with the American forces stationed nearby. Jesus Christ. That's a fucking... Holy shit. That's what Shimoyama explained to me. In other words, the place I was heading to was the core of Japan's defenses. Once I arrived, would I understand why it was so important that all these soldiers were willing to die to protect me? The car stopped in front of Naha Airport for a while, and then I saw a surprising pair get aboard.
岡部さん。あ、本当だ。オカリンさんだ。
君たちはユキさんと中瀬さんじゃないか。
I wasn't expecting to see them there, but they were the first people I knew who I'd met since coming to this world line. That alone was almost enough to make me cry. But still, I couldn't just sit there and be happy.
マユリの行方を知らないか。
大丈夫です。
Yuki nodded, as if trying to make me feel better.
さっきまで一緒だったんです。
一緒だった。
そうなんですよ。マユシーでしょ、ルミホちゃんでしょ、ルカ君、楓ちゃん。今朝空港に着いて、みんな防衛局というところで保護してもらえるというので待っていたんですが、さっき急に私と吹雪ちゃんだけ先に連れて行くと言われて、それでこの車に乗せられたらオカリンさんがいたってわけ。
とにかくみんなが無事でよかった。
Since Daru and Suzuha weren't mentioned, I was going to ask about them, but...
すまないが、積もる話は後にしてもらっていいだろうか。
Shimoyama cut me off, and then the car started moving.
沖縄防衛局には君たちのご家族もいずれ到着する予定だ。すでに我々の方で保護はしている。
本当ですか？よかった。
別行動になったお友達の皆さんもすぐ後ろの車に乗っている。離れ離れになるわけではないから安心していい。
I took a quick look and saw another identical van a little behind us. So Mayuri and the others were there?
じゃあ、後でまた会えるんですね。
もちろんだ。
Yuki let out a sigh of relief. But then I started to wonder about something else. Why were we split into different cars? This van could hold at least another 3 people. If we squeezed tight, it could easily hold everyone. Or was there some reason they'd put me, Yuki, and Fubuki in the same car? The car drove alongside the Okinawa monorail for a while, and then went south down a wide bypass.
暗いな。
何です？
いや、こんなに店が並んでるのにどこも真っ暗だから。
There were lots of franchise restaurants, big supermarkets, cafeterias for tourists, and rent-a-car places all jammed together along the side of the road. But all of them were dead silent, and their lights were turned off. Barely any of the street lights were turned on, and the only cars were Japanese and US military vehicles. I didn't see anyone else out walking.
10日間制と午後5時以降の外出禁止令が出ているんだ。沖縄なら安全とは言ってもね、戦時下なんだよ。以前のようにはいかない。早く戦争など終わって元に戻ってほしいものだ。
Wartime, huh?
なあ岡部君。君の知っている沖縄は夜遅くまでもっと明るくて楽しい場所だったろ？
あ、どうでしょう。俺は沖縄は初めてなので。
それはもったいないな。なら次は楽しい旅行で来られることを祈っているよ。ここは本当にいい島だ。
The car headed up from the bypass over a land bridge, and then to another road. We quickly came to a long tunnel.
実は3人に防衛局に着く前に少しだけ質問をしたくてな。それでこうして同乗してもらった。
My guess was right. That meant there was something he wanted to ask just the 3 of us. But why us 3? I wasn't particularly close to Yuki or Fubuki. I'd only even started talking to them a few months ago. And then I shook my head. That was before the world line changed. Maybe things were different in this world line. I had no idea what my relationship was to anyone else in this world line. Since the SDF had been treating me so well, I didn't want to make Shimoyama suspicious. I decided it would be best to leave most of the talking to Yuki and Fubuki.
天音ゆきさん。
はい。
Shimoyama spoke to Yuki first. Yuki went stiff when her name was called. I could feel it even sitting next to her.
君は橋田至君とその妹さんがどこにいるか知らないだろうか。
Little sister. That must be Suzuha. That would mean that even in this world line, Suzuha had come from the future and gotten to know Yuki and the others while pretending to be Daru's sister. The idea that she was able to keep the ruse up to the point where even the military bought it, I find that very hard to believe, but okay. And the SDF evidently didn't know where Daru and Suzuha were.
いえ、私は。
Yuki fell silent and glanced over to me, as if expecting help. But I didn't know where they were either. I didn't even have any memories of this world line, so I had no way of answering. But Yuki's attitude bothered me. It was as if she knew where they were and was deliberately hiding it, and that I was supposed to be hiding it too. I could figure that out. If I could figure that out, I'm sure Shimoyama could too. I mean, you'd be pretty good at pretending you don't know where they are, considering you don't know where they are. A strange tension filled the car. Yuki was trying to hide it from whom?
知らないかな?
Shimoyama turned around from the front passenger seat and asked again.
すみません。
Yuki bowed her head in apology.
でも君は橋田君とかなり親しいお付き合いをしているんだよね。恋人に何の連絡もないというのは。
携帯電話なんてもう使い物になってないじゃないですか。
連絡方法なら携帯以外にもいくらでもある。
でも本当に何も。
妹さんからも？
はい。
時に岡部君は橋田君と何か研究をしていたらしいね。
え？
I wasn't sure how to react when the conversation suddenly turned toward me. Researching? Researching what? Oh, if I panic, I'll make them suspicious.
どんな研究をしていたんだね？
I would just have to give him the most harmless answer I could.
研究というより、なんていうか、ちょっとした発明のアイデアというか。
発明？
竹とんぼに CCD カメラをつけて空撮ができないかとか、掃除機の排気をドライヤー代わりにしてみるとか。
ほう、なかなか面白いね。それじゃ何かとんでもないものを作っていて、それを知られないために我々から逃げたというわけではないんだね。
逃げた？
Damn, I responded. That was a mistake. But did that mean that Daru and Suzuha were hiding from the SDF amidst all this chaos? The SDF had risked their lives to protect me over the past month. Shouldn't I be asking them for help? I got even more confused.
知らないのならいいんだ。橋田君たちのことは保留にしておこう。
Somebody, please tell me what the right answer is. How am I supposed to respond here? I would be... I would be dead already. I'd be out.
君には別に聞きたいことがあるんだ。
I got nothing. I would...
私？
This time it was Fubuki's turn to jump up in her seat.
いやいや、そんなに緊張しなくていい。大したことじゃない。
Or so Shimoyama said, but Fubuki was clearly starting to get scared. Her reaction was strange. It was too strong. Maybe the self-defense force weren't simply protecting us. For one thing, there was no way normal civilians like us merited such important treatment. But then, what were they after? No, I could guess. The time machine. This war started with Russia's time machine experiments. And of course, Nakabachi was involved. I had learned from some of the soldiers that even in this world line he'd sought asylum in Russia. and Suzuha was a time traveler from the year 2036. If Suzuha was here in this era, that meant that it was Daru who made the time machine that brought her here. If you had a time machine, you could change the outcome of this war. It would make sense if that's what the Japanese government thought, and if that was why they were trying to capture Daru, Suzuha, and their friends. Once I realized that, the whole situation started to feel terrifying to me. Was this car really headed toward the Okinawa Defense Bureau? And if it was, were they really going to keep us safe there?
先週中瀬さんに受けてもらった健康診断なんだが、
何か悪いところでも見つかったんですか？
いや、東京で怪我をした傷も治りかけているし、体調には問題はない。ただストレスがひどいようだね。まあ無理もない。あれだけひどい空襲をくぐり抜けてきたんだ。今やほとんどの民間人に PTSD があると言ってもいい。ただ君の場合、他の人とは少し違うようだ。随分とリアルな夢を見たりするとか、ひどい時には白チュームというのかな。現実と夢の区別がつかなくなることもあると聞いた。
だからそれが PTSD ってことじゃないんですか？
Fubuki was too scared to speak, so Yuki interrupted curtly. It was rare to see Yuki act like this. If nothing else, I'd never seen it before. It was plain now. Yuki didn't trust Shimoyama. In fact, she considered him an enemy.
いや、それが実に奇妙な話なんだが。
Shimoyama paused for a moment for effect and rubbed his chin.
中瀬さんと非常によく似た白チュームを見る人たちがいる。しかも一人や二人じゃない。もちろん程度の差はあるが、国内だけでもすでに十数名ほど見つかっている。どうやら海外にもいるようだ。まあ西側諸国の情報しかないがね。
そんなのただの偶然じゃ。
Fubuki was incredibly frightened, so I spoke in her place.
プーシンを知っているだろう。
Is that... Hold on. I knew it. Vladimirovich Putin. From 2000 to 2008, he was the second president of Russia, and after 2008, he became prime minister, a former KGB agent. Golly gosh, I wonder who that's in reference to. Suddenly, Shimoyama turned his gaze toward me and asked me a question.
プーシン、ソ連の書記長ですよね。
I almost said the president of Russia, but managed to stop myself. The Soviet Union still existed in this world line. Putin's title was General Secretary, not President. I'd heard that during my time at Iruma.
そう。だが中瀬さんは興味深いことに、プーシンがロシアの大統領だと答えたとか。
What?
すみません。なんか寝ぼけてたんです。それに私、勉強とか全然ダメで。
いや、そうじゃない。白チュームを見る人たちの特徴の一つなんだ。皆一様にそう口にする。プーシン大統領とね。ゴリバチョフやレリツィンのことも大統領と呼ぶものばかりだ。そのおかげで研究者たちは陰で大統領病とか呼んでるそうだが、センスのないネーミングだな。
That's really lame. Somehow that is even lamer than Reading Steiner. That is... who am I kidding? Reading Steiner is the best name, so... No way. Is he talking about Reading Steiner? There was a strong chance that people besides me had that power, even if not as acutely. I'd never found out for sure, but what Ferris had said in the Alpha World line certainly suggested it. So it was certainly possible that Shimoyama's waking dreams were actually the effects of Reading Steiner. They were all aware of that world line change a month ago, just like me. If Fubuki had the same memories of the other world line that I had, it would make perfect sense that she called Putin a president.
ゴリバチョフ、レリツィン。
知らないのかね。世界史の授業でやっただろ
私高校時代からずっと理系だったもので。
常識だと思っていたが、今の若い子は知らないのか。最近の学生がここまで不勉強とはね。岡部君は知っているだろう。ゴリバチョフやレリツィンくらい。
ええ、まあ。
ベルリンの壁の崩壊やペレストロイカも。
はい。それも教科書で。
The second after the words were out of my mouth, an alarm went off in my mind. Something was wrong. There was something strange about what Shimoyama was saying. It's a trap. And then I realized the East and West were caught up in the middle of a world war. How could the Berlin Wall have fallen? And could Gorbachev really execute perestroika? Okay, what is perestroika? I haven't taken world history, apparently. Russian for restructuring, a policy of economic reform via the introduction of market-oriented economics implemented in the Soviet Union in 1985. It was originally intended to revive the stalled socialist economy, but it ultimately led to the collapse of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union's one-party state, as well as the dissolving of the USSR. Yeah, you got played, buddy. By the time I realized he tricked me, it was too late. My panic appeared on my face.
君もそうだったのか。そしてそれを恋に隠そうとしたね。
Busted.
やはり情報通りなんだな。君は何か重大なことを知っている。なあ岡部君、教えてほしいんだが。
Shimoyama suddenly laughed. It was a bitter laugh, almost eerily so.
ゴリバチョフ？レリツィン？君たちが口にするそれは一体誰なんだ？我々はもちろんアメリカのあらゆる情報機関にもそんな人物のデータは存在しないんだ。
Doesn't exist? I looked over at Yuki. From the look on her face, I could tell that she really had no idea who they were.
ペレストロイカだの、ベルリンの壁崩壊だの、それは本当にあったことなのか？答えてくれ。
But I couldn't answer. I was thinking of something completely different. I suddenly realized why the world line might have changed a month ago on Christmas Eve. What if Russia used the time machine that day in an experiment to change the past? The goal of the experiment would have been to stop the collapse of the Soviet Union. And if the result of their changing the past was this world line, how foolish. A single change to the past and the butterfly effect makes the world entire world so different. But did they know how many people had died?
君や君の友達には本当に他の世界の歴史が見えているのか？私にはとても信じられない。頭のおかしい学者どものたわごとにしか。
He was about to push me further when we heard the sound of an incoming call on a cell phone. Shimoyama grunted and took his phone out of his pocket.
下山だ。ああ、今防衛局へ。何？どういうことだ、それは。くそ、これだからバカどもは。あいつらどこの国の政治家だ。
Shimoyama's finger slammed down on the end call button so hard I thought the phone would break. There was a look of rage on his face.
行き先変更だ。嘉手納基地へ向かえ。第2ゲートだ。
His words were filled with irritation as he spoke to the driver. Changing destinations? Who is he just talking to? As I sat there confused, Shimoyama started to call someone else.
下山だ。行き先を変更する。嘉手納基地の第2ゲート前で落ち合う。
That was all he said before he hung up.
どういうことですか？
状況が変わった。これから岡部君は米軍基地に行ってもらう。そのまま米軍機でアメリカへ行き、なんていう楽しい旅行が待っているかもしれんな。
America?
せめてファーストクラスを準備するよう要求しておくが、期待はしないでほしい。あいつらは我々の言うことなど飼い犬の吠え声としか思ってない。
なんでアメリカに？
CIA か NSC か知らんが、君の即時引き渡しを求めているそうだ。
だからなぜ？
そんなことはあいつらに直接聞け。
And then he turned back toward the front and fell silent, refusing to answer any of my questions. The car went down the road for a while, until we got off at an exit that read South Okinawa. Stopped in front of the gate. Several US soldiers had evidently been waiting for my arrival.
君をアメリカに渡したら、もう我々のところには正しい情報なんて一つも降りてこなくなるだろう。だから、これが最後の機会だ。
Shimoyama turned around from the passenger seat and looked straight at me. His eyes were desperate and begging.
教えてくれ。我々はこの先、どうすればいいんだ。頼む。
I remembered all the soldiers in Tokyo who'd fought so desperately to protect me. Were they fighting to help someone else in Tokyo right now? Or were they already...
俺にはわかりません。
岡部君。
本当にわからないんです。俺一人の力でこの戦争をどうにかできると思いますか？ゴリバチョフやレリツィンがロシアの大統領になるとか、東西冷戦を劇的に終結させるとか、そんな歴史を知っていたところでどうにもならない。
I could hear the sound of another car getting closer. Shimoyama aside and opened the passenger side door.
降りたまえ。
I exited the car as I was told. Oh, I wish it was just cosplay. I wish it was just cosplay, but it's sadder because it's not. Mayuri got out of the van behind us and ran over to me.
Mayuri!
She's happy. She's happy to see him. Oh, stop! Oh, stop the music. Just give me a second. Oh wow, we're already not even an hour in. Jesus Christ. My childhood friend flung herself into my arms and I held her tight. I could feel her warmth. Mayuri was here. I'd never gone almost a whole month without seeing her before. And this was wartime. I couldn't easily contact her like I could in the old world line. So I'd been so worried about whether or not Mayuri was okay. It was no exaggeration to say that I'd survived this far just to make sure. I had erased the entire Alpha world line to save her. No matter what happened, I wanted her to be safe. I held her too closely. Snapped her spine. And I took a step back. The squad's all here. Oh my god, that's so wrong. I can't. No, Ferris, no! It's not right! At least she's still in the Oz, but no! I mean, I get it, but no! This world line is cursed! Up until now, I was just like, oh man, this is really suck. This is really sucks. I can talk. This really sucks. Everything, you know, it's sad, it's heartbreaking. This, now it's just cursed. This world line, burn it to the ground. Get rid of it. I heard two more voices I recognized. Ferris and Luca. I saw them, and behind them I saw Kaede.
みんなもよく無事で。
岡部さん、
Okay, the longer I look at her, the more, like, it's actually kind of cute. But it's not right. That's the thing. It's like, she's cute. It's cute. It's like, oh, it's novel and new and cute, but it ain't right. It is incorrect, is the thing.
ルカ子。
Make it stop. Oh, Luca doesn't have this hair clip. No, that's what's truly cursed about this. It's all cursed. No, I hate it all. Make it stop. Oh, I missed that one. I felt myself getting choked up too when I saw Lukako cry. I exchanged greetings with Kaede too. Fubuki had grabbed onto her like a little kid. She was still pale and trembling.
フェリス。さすがにメイド服じゃないんだな。
I like how she's got a pink shirt on. She got a pink shirt.
フェイリスって呼ばれたのも久しぶりにゃ。
Eris spoke sadly. Then she put her hand around my neck and held me close. What? Oh, like that. I I'm just imagining Ferris grabbing Okabe by the throat, lifting him up like a super villain. Oh my god. Okay. That's a phenomenal mental image. That's great. Very okay. Then she put her hand around my neck, not the way you're thinking, and held me close. Her little pink lips got close to my ear as if she was about to kiss me.
おい。
Some things never change. What was going on?
照れることないにゃ。
They get the kitty mouth. She laughed mischievously. Then Ferris, no, Akiha Rumiho, whispered into my ear while pretending to kiss me.
気をつけて。防衛省の人も米軍の人も信用してはダメ。
Damn, she's good. Damn, she's good.
大人は嘘だらけ。みんな本当のことを言わないわ。
That's right. Ferris had a special talent. Cheshire break. She was incredibly good at looking into someone's heart and seeing what they were thinking.
ああ。思い知ったよ。
One of them had just tricked me. Ferris looked surprised and took a step back.
悲しいにゃ。
そうだな。
Then I heard the sound of another engine. This time it was coming from beyond the gate and inside the base. It belonged to a black luxury car with an E on the license plate. Behind it was a minibus. The two of them stopped in front of the gate. It was time for my reunion to end.
Welcome!
An American soldier as tall as a basketball player got out of the car.
ようこそ皆さん。私ハモンドです。歓迎します。
Hey boy, what's up? That's every time I hear I can't, that's the best line. I just can't get over it. I will think that every time. His Japanese was good, but not great.
では、ミスター岡部以外の皆さんはバスに乗ってください。
He was smiling, but I could tell he wasn't going to allow any arguments. And the other American soldiers were still carrying their rifles as they stood guard without smiles. Shimoyama and the other Japanese soldiers were watching us from a distance. They didn't try to stop us, they were just looking downward.
オカリン以外ってどういうこと？
怖がらなくていいです。皆さんには少し話を聞かせてもらいます。でも後ですぐに沖縄防衛局へ送ります。さあ、どうぞ。
オカリン、
大丈夫だ。安心しろ。
でも
ユキさん、参りを頼みます。
はい。
Yuki nodded and put her arm around Mayuri's shoulder as she led her to the bus. Everyone else followed.
おかえり。
俺の両親によろしく言っておいてくれ。
Once everyone but me was on, the minibus left immediately. The area in front of the gate fell silent. It was hard to believe this existed in the same world as all the places I'd crossed on my escape through Japan's main island.
さて、それではミスター岡部、あなたはどうぞこちらの車へ。
He told me to get in the back seat of the black luxury car. What would happen to me once I got inside? I tried to think about it, but I realized there was nothing I could do. I was just about to get in the car when...
岡部君逃げろ。アメリカへ行ったらもう生きて戻れ。
What? Shimuyama's scream... Oh god, I can't talk about the fucking gunfire. Shimuyama's scream was cut off by the sound of gunfire. In the corner of my eye, I saw the American soldiers firing without hesitation. No way. I tried to turn around when...
乗って。
A large hand blocked my vision as Hammond held me down. I couldn't hear Shimuyama's voice anymore. Through the gaps between his fingers, I could see that nothing was moving. And I knew exactly what that meant. I was shoved into the car before I had time to think about it.
こんなの。
Dude, that made me... Shit! I tried to open my mouth, but Hammond looked into my eyes and shook his head. I wasn't supposed to talk then. Hammond sat next to me, then closed the door. The car started to move. Soon, we turned down a different road than the one the minibus was taking. America, huh? I'd never been there before. What were they going to do to me there? Use me as a guinea pig? Cut open my head and dissect my brain? I probably wasn't going to be able to do any tourist things. Imagine not. I felt like screaming, but tried my best to stay calm.
あなたに会わせたい人がいます。
Hammond suddenly spoke, then he handed me something. I took it before I even looked at what it was. When I checked, it was a normal smartphone.
ロックはかかっていません。そこのボタンを押して。
Confused, I pressed the button as I was told. And then something appeared on the screen. Well, that's a bit of a spoiler.
クリス。
It was the Amadeus Makise Kurisu.
なんで米軍がアマデウスを。
I was about to ask Hammond when, for the first time in about a month, that feeling came back. Fuck! Welcome back! The whole world and all its colors began to shift. There was a feeling of instability, like my brain was unable to recognize where it was, and then the dizziness and a sense of falling, like you get when you're anemic. I could hear the blood vessels deep within my ears, and they sounded really loud. The sense of floating finally stopped, and my surroundings coalesced into firm shapes.
おかりん。
Mayuri was right in front of me. I was in the lab, in the room I knew well. There was no trace of Okinawa anywhere.
そんなに見つめられたら、まゆし恥ずかしいんだけど。
I realized that I was staring at Mayuri. Well, you didn't realize it, she told you, you dingus. I looked around the room. Daru was sitting in front of the PC like always, hunched over with his back toward me. Suzuha was reading a magazine on the couch. On the open page, I could read the title, New Encephalitis Strikes Worldwide. Are you in danger? The same couch, the same cheap fridge, Daru's computer desk, the dirty curtain that cut off the development room from the rest of the lab. The wall clock, which I'd picked up out of a garbage dump, told me it was past 6. I looked at the calendar, and 2010 was already gone. It was January 2011. The world line had changed again. I was back? To the old world line?
なあ前よりここって秋葉原だよな。違うのか。
秋葉原だよ。
今日って何日だっけ。
21日。
ゴリバチョフ知ってるか。
ゴリバチョフ？どこかで聞いたことがあるような。
ペレストロイカっしょ。恐ろしや。あ、でもゴリビーってソ連時代だっけ？やっぱロシアといえばプーシンっしょ。目の前で睨まれたらしょんべんちびる自信あるね。
プーシンさんなら知ってるよ。ロシアの大統領さんだよね。実はワンコが好きなんだよ。秋田犬を飼ってるんだって。ニュースでやってた。
大統領。そうだ。大統領だ。
Alright, 1 second. I gotta go to the bathroom. Bathroom break. Hi, it's me again. Alright. Mayuri, Daru, and Suzuha all looked over at me suspiciously. It felt like a long time since anyone had looked at me that way. I was back. I no longer had to worry that I might be killed at any second. I felt incredibly relieved. But at the same time, I wondered, why had the world line changed again? I needed to calm down and think for a bit. I went up to the roof and booted up the web browser on my smartphone. Unlike during wartime, it connected immediately. I was amazed at the speed. Just getting an internet connection in the last world line had been difficult enough. Wikipedia. That's like, this is just okay. Like somebody, it's like someone had a fucking stroke trying to type out Wikipedia. 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 I started by searching for Gorbachev, and the results came back instantly. Yep. Perestroika, the Soviet Union's first and last president. The August coup d'etat and the collapse of the Soviet Union. And all the keywords I'd hoped to see were there. As soon as I confirmed that the Soviet Union was dismantled at the end of the 20th century, I no longer existed, I closed the browser. Then why had the world line changed again? I hadn't done anything. I didn't have any way to interfere with the divergence value. So what had changed it? Had whoever had performed the first experiment in Russia undone it? Had they watched its progress for a month and then been satisfied? Were they going to keep doing it? And if they did, would I be caught up in it each time?
Sam.
It was a mistake to come outside without a coat on. Nothing I could come up with by myself would be anything more than a guess. I went back to the lab. The wreaths we'd put up at the entrance for the Christmas party were still up.
Christmas party.
It had only been a month, hadn't it? It felt like a million years ago. I had no memories of what I'd done in this world line after the Christmas party.
ああ、そういえば飾り付け放置したまんまだっけ。いい加減外さないとな。パーティーの時にオカリンと吹雪氏が倒れたっしょ。それでバタバタしちゃってちゃんと片付けできてないんだよね。
Should see our place of Christmas. Those decorations come down in fucking March.
俺と中瀬さんが倒れた。
Was that when the world line changed? Everyone remembered that I'd collapsed at the Christmas party, which means I'd come back to the same world line as the one I'd been in before. If this was Russia's doing, it was terrifying to think they could control the world line to that degree. And there was one more thing. It worried me that Fubuki had collapsed too. I stood there, lost in thought. Daru and Mayuri looked a little concerned.
オカリン？
そういえば中瀬さんの具合はどうなのかなって思ってな。
I quickly came up with an excuse.
吹雪ちゃん、まだ入院してるんだ。
入院？もう1ヶ月近く経ってるのにか？
本人は大丈夫だって言ってるんだけど、ちっとも退院させてもらえないんだって。
I've heard that lately, unless you were really sick, they wouldn't let you stay in the hospital for very long. Was Fubuki-chan... Myers got me saying it. Was Fubuki sick with something?
これの疑いが晴れないらしいね。
Suzuha whispered as she held up the page of the magazine she was reading. New encephalitis strikes worldwide. Are you in danger? It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
新型の
Is it 9 p.m.? I think it was 9 p.m. I borrowed the magazine. Are you in danger? They were talking about this last November. I had seen a glimpse of it on the news. Outside of Japan, they'd seen almost 100 people, albeit with mild symptoms. In Japan, there were 10 people being kept at hospitals for examinations, or so it said. Sudden bouts of amnesia, distorted sense of time, forgetting the people around you, the inability to tell the difference between reality and daydreams. Special edition. So it had made its way to Japan. And one of those 10 was Fubuki then. Was it transmissible by air? We didn't catch it at the Christmas party, did we? I knew that getting nervous wouldn't help anything, but still I wondered.
ねえ、オカリンも一度病院で見てもらった方がいいんじゃないかな。あの時のオカリン、吹雪ちゃんよりもっと具合悪そうだったよ。
ああ、考えておくよ。
I gave a half-hearted answer to Mayuri and turned back to the magazine. Strange symptoms being found all over the world. Cause unknown. Sudden memory loss. Memories differ from those of the people around you. Losing all sense of the passage of time. Losing the ability to tell the difference between dreams and reality. Mind and matter, and sometimes having waking dreams. The article was filled with things like that. This was like...
まるでリーディングシュタイナーみたいじゃないか。
And it matched exactly with what Shimoyama had told me in the other world line. Wonder what Shimoyama's doing in this world line.
随分とリアルな夢を見たりするとか。ひどい時には白チュームというのかな。現実と夢の区別がつかなくなることもあると聞いた。中瀬君と非常によく似た白チュームを見る人たちがいる。しかも一人や二人じゃない。
I'd wondered back then if Fubuki possessed reading Steiner too. Maybe the reason she collapsed at the Christmas party wasn't some new disease, but the unexpected activation of reading Steiner. That would mean her diagnosis was wrong. The unnecessary tests and treatments they gave her wouldn't help a bit. It looked like I needed to talk to Fubuki. I ended up going over that day. She was at a large general hospital with a medical student department located in Ochanomizu. It was close enough to Akihabara I could walk, and getting there was easy. Since she might get the wrong idea if I went alone, I encouraged Mayuri to come with me. I hoped it would look like I was only coming as an afterthought. But it ended up being a bigger deal than I expected. It always is with Mayuri. When they heard that Mayuri was going, Yuki and Kaide decided to come too. Evidently, they'd all been to visit Fubuki several times before, and they knew exactly where she was located. They walked down the halls without hesitation. It was almost 8 when visiting hours ended, so we needed to hurry. Reception. But as we passed by their nurse's station, there was a minor commotion. A woman in her late 40s wearing a gray jersey was yelling at the doctors and nurses.
いい加減にしてよ。いつになったら退院できるの？
ですから必要な検査と治療を行った後にですね。
治療なんて何にもしてないじゃない。しかもちょっとした検査のはずがなんで1ヶ月も出られないの？仕事はどうしてくれるの？
落ち着いてください。この病気は未知の部分が多く、十分な検査を行って慎重に治療をしませんと危険なのです。
嘘。テレビじゃそんなに大変な病気じゃないから安心しろみたいに言ってたわよ。
She really wants to get out of here, right? You might say she's an impatient inpatient.
ですから、それは適切な検査と治療を行うことが前提です。先ほども突然のめまいを起こしたと看護師からの報告が来ています。
あれは夕飯が遅いからお腹が空いて貧血になっただけよ。私は元気なの。さっさと退院させて。
The woman was about ready to grab the doctor by the throat. Several female nurses held her back, then dragged her off somewhere with reassuring words.
びっくりしたわ。吹雪ちゃんは大丈夫かな？
The girls hurried even faster down the hallway. Fubuki was in a 4-person room at the very end of the hallway. We hesitantly peeked inside. We could hear moaning coming from beyond the curtains surrounding Fubuki's bed. Mayuri went pale and hurriedly ripped them open. Fubuki made a strange noise and spun around as we came in. I looked closer and saw that she was sitting on the bed with her legs crossed, watching a show on the LCD TV attached to it. Her eyes were red and swollen with tears, but given the fact that she had a stick of Pocky in her mouth, she was probably just crying over a soap opera. Fubuki wiped away her tears and welcomed us with her usual smile. She's adorable. I fucking love Fubuki!
マユシーはドキドキしちゃったよ。ふぶきちゃんが泣いてるって思って。紛らわしいんだから。ごめんごめん。
Even as she apologized, she tossed another chocolate-coated stick into her mouth. Oh, that sounds so good right now. Her hair was tied up, and she was wearing some kind of headgear. At first I thought it was just that she was too lazy to do her hair, but evidently not. There were cords coming out of the headgear that were attached to a belt around her waist. Were they monitoring her brainwaves? And as unobtrusively as possible, I took a look at the other patients around the room. They were all wearing the same headgear. They may have been giving it to all the encephalitis patients.
ふぶきちゃん、ごめんね。みんなで押しかけちゃって。とんでもない。大歓迎だよ。それに、オカリンさんまで来てくれるとは思わなかった。
Oh my god, she's so cute. Dude, a little blushing. She's blushing. Ah, she's so cute. I'm okay. Fubuki stared at me intently. She'd never done that before, so I started to wonder if there was something on my face.
俺と同じように倒れたって言うから気になってたんだ。具合は？
全然平気。なんで退院できないのか本当わかんないよ。毎日毎日検査するだけで他には何にもやることないし、退屈で退屈で。しかもさ、病室って携帯禁止なんだよね。メールしたくてもロビーまで行かないとダメだし、夜9時になると勝手に消灯されちゃうから深夜アニメも見られないし、もう信じられない。
Her bed was surrounded with portable game consoles, magazines, a miniature DVD player, anything to stave off boredom. Oh, it's my room, okay. And given all the half-empty boxes of snacks, it was hard to believe the disease was as serious as they said on the news.
オカリンさんは大丈夫なの？
ああ、マユリにも言ったが、この通り、なんともない。
そっか、よかった。
She seemed truly relieved, but she was still staring at me. And suddenly, Kaede started to fidget. Not only that, she blushed, then glanced at me, then almost started to cry. She was acting really weird. Someone's about to say something very upsetting, aren't they?
どうかした？
Kaede started fidgeting even more when she realized that everyone was looking at her, but she had no choice but to go over and whisper something in Fubuki's ear.
はあ？ふぶきちゃん、
The other girls tried to quiet Fubuki down. This was a hospital, and there were other patients in the room. We couldn't make a fuss.
だって皆さん、ちょっと聞いてくださいよ。
What the hell is
ここに
happening?
いらっしゃる来島楓さんってば、私とオカリンさんがみんなに隠れてこっそり付き合ってるんじゃないかって疑ってるんですよ。
Nani? Now it was our turn to keep from shouting in surprise.
何を言い出すんだ？
だってまゆりちゃんの話だと、今日ふぶきちゃんのお見舞いに行こうと言い出したのってオカリンさんなんですよね。
それはまあそうだが。
There was another reason, but I couldn't say that.
それにさっきから吹雪ちゃんとオカリンさん愛おしそうに見つめ合ってるし。
Longingly! Longingly! I think you're adding the longingly, Kaede.
愛おしそうに見つめてないから。そうじゃなくて、
Fubuki tried to scratch her hair, but the headgear blocked her way and she gave up.
ちょっとリアルな夢をね、見ちゃって。
リアルな夢？
I was startled. That may have been what I wanted to find out.
今日の夕方くらいかな。少しうとうとしてたんだ。やることもないし暇すぎちゃって。そしたらなんかね、あんまり詳しくは覚えてないんだけど、私とオカリンさんとユキさんが怖い人に車に乗せられてどこかへ連れて行かれる夢を見ちゃったんだ。私も出てくるの？うん。
It was the same. That meant Fubuki had experienced the same things I'd gone through in the other world line. And this evening would have been the same time I was experiencing it. I peeked through the curtains to make sure none of the hospital staff were around.
みんな悪いが中瀬さんと二人で話をさせてくれないか？
Kaede? Don't say anything weird there, Kaede. Oh my god.
違うって。
That needs to go on the list of. I wasn't really sure how to handle that reaction.
それはマユシーたちには聞かれたくないこと？
病気のことについてなんだ。
わかった。
Mayuri nodded and went outside the curtains. The other two looked bothered, but they followed her.
中瀬さん、君の話した夢なんだが、もしかして場所は沖縄じゃなかったか？
そうだね。うん、多分沖縄だったと思う。車に乗ってる時にそういう看板を見た気がする。
車に乗ってたのは俺と君、そしてユキさん、他に運転手と背の低い自衛隊の男。
うん。
男の名前は下山。
Buki suddenly went pale. A dream about being in a car in Okinawa could be written off as a coincidence, but knowing the exact name of the man in the shared dream was a different matter entirely.
どうして？
その男は君に白チュームの話をした。ロシアの大統領の話も。そして俺たちは米軍基地に連れて行かれた。そこでマユリたちと合流して俺とは別れた。
Fubuki was too stunned to speak. There was no room for doubt. My suspicion turned into a certainty. Fubuki had a stronger reading Steiner than most people, and remembered the other world line as a relatively realistic dream.
夢の中でその下山って人が言ってた。オカリンさんも私と同じで別の世界の記憶を持ってるんだって。
ああ。
それって本当だったんだ。
ああ。
I hesitated for a moment, but then I gave her a brief explanation of my own reading Steiner ability. The one thing I wanted to make sure she understood was that her dreams weren't caused by an illness. But her reaction, it wasn't what I expected.
だったら他にもいるかも。病気じゃない人。
そうなのか？
暇だからみんなとね、よく話をするんだ。自分の見た夢の話。それがものすごくそっくりでびっくりすることがあって。ついさっきもね、隣の部屋に入院してる小学生の子が言ってた。ここで仲良くなった子なんだけど、一度も行ったことないはずなのに沖縄にいる夢を見たって。戦争で東京が燃えちゃって自衛隊に助けられて沖縄へ逃げる夢だったって。
そうか。
Oh no. If that was true, then it wasn't just Fubuki. There were other patients who were being kept in the hospital for no reason, who didn't have any kind of disease at all.
お医者さんに話した方がいい？
いや、とてもじゃないが信じてもらえるとは思えない。それどころか妄想がひどくなったって診断されたりでもしたら。
そっか。
他の人にもまだ黙っていた方がいい。騒ぎになったら大変だ。
And then Yuki poked her head through the curtain.
岡部さん、看護師さんがこっちに来ます。
面会時間おしまいですよ。
I looked at the clock. It was well past 8.
パタパタしちゃってごめんね、ふぶきちゃん。今度はゆっくりできるように早めに来るね。ああ、まゆし、行っちゃやだ。でもナースさんに怒られちゃうよ。そんなの別にいいよ。今夜は私と一緒に寝て。
Fubuki was back to her usual self. She grabbed Mayuri's hand and held it tight. Kaede chuckled and forced her to let go.
なるべく来てあげるから。わがまま言っちゃダメ。なるべくじゃやだよ。明日も明後日も放課後になったら来て。暇で死んじゃう。
Fubuki flailed her arms and legs about. It was a bit too deliberate, if you ask me. Kaede patted her on the head.
はいはい。それじゃあまたね。
Mayuri and Yuki went over to pat her too, and before long she looked like a little puppy in a kennel being petted. We left her behind and exited the room. I was the last to leave, and before I did, I turned around and saw Fubuki staring at us from the bed. Our eyes met, so I nodded a little. It's okay, you're not sick, so don't worry. I don't know if she understood what I meant, but she nodded back. See, I'd be losing my mind if I knew I wasn't sick, but I couldn't tell anybody, and I just had to sit in the fucking hospital for ever. I would be even more enraged. Who sent me a Rhine? Who dares send me a Rhine? Oh, was that part of the... Okay. I want to talk to you in private. I'll wait for you to contact me. The hospital halls were strangely silent after visiting hours were over. Was that what it said before I picked up the... I see. I didn't realize it was part of the plot. Something in the short message... Oh my god. Something in the short message made me feel very tense. My mouth and brain and my hand are disconnected as fuck right now. I don't know what's going on. After I said my goodbyes to the others, I contacted Suzuha. She told me to come to the top of Radican. When I arrived, she was standing silently on the dark roof. There was no trace of a smile on her face. Her eyes shone in the darkness, and as she glared at me, I felt a shiver run down my spine. This was not the Suzuha I was used to. Maybe this was her true self. Whatever she wanted to talk to me about, I was sure I wasn't going to like it.
悪かったね、オカリンおじさん。こんなところに呼び出しちゃって。
話ってなんだ？
私はなんていうか、話の駆け引きとか 上手な情報の引き出し方とかそういうの苦手でさ。
From the way she stumbled over her words, it was clearly something she didn't want to talk about.
単刀直入に言ってくれ。以前のお前なら多分そうしていただろ
そうだね。
う。もしかして俺のこと気遣ってくれてるのか。そうか、ありがと
う。別にそんなんじゃ。
Suzuha got a little annoyed and tried to say something back to me, but ended up swallowing her words.
実は俺最初はちょっとショックだったんだ。お前が俺のよく知ってる鈴葉と全然違ったから。
それは仕方ない。世界線が違えば育った環境もそこで出来上がる人格や考え方も変わる。
ああ、でも今はそうは思わない。鈴葉はやっぱり鈴葉だよ。
いや、やっぱり私は違う。オカリンおじさんのよく知ってる天音鈴葉じゃない。
鈴葉。
今日私はオカリンおじさんを尾行したんだ。
尾行？
そう、病院の中までずっと。
Did she say? Why would she do that? No, I knew the answer without even asking. There was only one reason she would do something like that.
俺が世界線を移動したことに気づいたのか。
あのクリスマスの夜におじさんにリーディングシュタイナーが発動したんじゃないかとずっと疑ってたんだ。あの日だけじゃない、今日もだ。それで確信に変わったよ。
I deliberately avoided telling Suzuha that the world line had changed. It was obvious that she would react like this.
聞かせて。ここはもう前の世界線とは変わってしまったのか。
聞いてどうする？
いいから答えて。これは命令だ、岡部倫太郎。
The fuck? Also, this is badass as all hell. I gulped as I saw her pull a gleaming pistol out from her jacket. It was aimed right between my eyes.
冗談だよな。
冗談でこんなことはしない。
Felt like Suzuha was trying to revert to who she was when I'd first come to the Beta world line, a woman who put her mission above anything else. She was so desperate it hurt to even look at her. What would happen if she shot me here? I imagined myself lying on the ground in a pool of blood. In my mind, the image overlapped with Kurisu's dead body. I closed my eyes and grit my teeth, trying to avoid a flashback. I'd spent the last month trying to escape to Okinawa in the middle of a war, but I still wasn't used to having a gun pointed right at me.
もう一度聞く。世界線は変動したのか。ここはもう以前とは違う世界なのか。
But Suzuha's hands were shaking a little even as she held the gun. That would have been unimaginable when she'd first come here from the future. Maybe she was ashamed of it because she bit down on her teeth even harder. Ouch. She must have bit her lip when she did so because a single trail of blood ran down her jaw and dripped onto the ground. I stared at the blood as I answered.
大丈夫だ。俺たちは以前のままの世界線にいる。
本当に？
ああ。一度別の世界線に移動したのは事実だが、再び元に戻ったはずだ。
それをやったのは誰だ？ロシアか。
だと思う。
とうとうタイムマシンの実験を開始したってことか。
Nodded.
それならもう一刻の猶予もないじゃないか。連中が実験を続ければやがて取り返しのつかないことが起きる。シュタインズゲートに続く道が閉ざされてしまうかもしれない。私はバカだ。悩んでる場合じゃなかった。もう説得なんて終わりだ。
どうする気だ？
岡部倫太郎、私の命令に従ってもらう。一緒に7月28日に行くんだ。
拒否したら？
拒否なんてさせない。
お前はいいのか？それで
何？
この世界線をなかったことにしてしまって、それで。
うるさい！
There was a horrible ringing in my ears and a fierce pain in my eardrums. A second later, the smell of gunpowder passed by my face. She really shot at me.
次は脅しじゃなくて当てる。
No! I hate this. She was glaring at me as if she was about to cry. We stared at each other in silence. I tried as hard as I could to come up with something to calm her down, but nothing came to me. Nothing I could come up with would get her to change her mind. What should I do?
鈴葉、オカリン、何やってんだお。
Daru, my man! Suddenly I heard Daru's voice. I turned and saw that he'd just come out of the door near the stairs.
父さん、どうして？
マユシとアマネシからメールがあったんだ。なんか鈴葉がオカリンを呼び出したって言うからさ、嫌な予感がして探してたんだお。あと、差出人不明のメールがあった。
差出人不明？
この場所のマップの URL を送りつけられた。もしやと思って真っ先に来てみたわけ。そしたら銃声がしたからびっくりしたっつうの。
Daru's whole body was covered in sweat. Even as he spoke, large beads were appearing on his forehead. He must have really hurried.
で、鈴葉、その銃は何なん？
いや、鈴葉は別に何も。
何もなかったら銃なんて撃たないっしょ、上皇。ほら鈴葉、話してみるといいのだぜ。
父さんだって本当は分かってるくせに。
何が？
世界線が変動したことだよ。ロシアがタイムマシンの実験を始めたんだ。
それって確定なん？
だから焦ってるんじゃないか。
Suzuha, please put the gun down.
このままじゃ何もかも終わりなんだ。シュタインズゲートに到達できない。第三次世界大戦も防げない。大勢の人が死んで、母さんも死んで、何もかも回避できない。
それは困るお。でもだからってさ、オカリンを脅して無理やり過去へ連れて行ったとして、それでうまくいくわけ
？Daru's normally easygoing expression had suddenly turned serious. When Daru gets serious, you know it's real. I can't remember how many times I've said that already, but it's true. He's the ultimate bro, because when he gets serious, it's fucking serious.
タイムマシンや世界線のことを研究し始めて、なんとなく分かってきたんだよね。オカリンの言う通り、普通のやり方じゃ何度やってもマキセ氏の命を救うことなんてできないんじゃないかって。
父さんまで何を言って。
世界線のルールや因果率がそんな簡単に変えられるんなら、オカリンの言うアルファ世界線でマユ氏の命だって救えたはずっしょ。
じゃあどうしたらいいって言うんだ。
Daru brought his fist up to his chest.
どうすべきかを 僕らは研究してるわけっしょ。
でももう時間が。
大丈夫、僕に任せとけって。絶対に何とかしてみせる。たまには父さんの言うことも素直に聞いてほしいのだぜ。
Daru's voice was strong and kind in a way you'd never imagine he was capable of. He softly took the gun from Suza's hands. Daru, my man! Like, it really, man, it really is just like, it's so rare, but she didn't resist.
ほら、銃なんかよりもっと大切なものを忘れてろ。今日みたいな寒い日にこそこれを使うべき。
Daru took something out of his pocket. He pressed it into Suzaha's hands. It was a pair of handmade gloves. It was the present that Yuki had given her at the Christmas party. I remembered it well.
私
I already did this today! Why? Then again. They already got me today. They don't get to get me twice. You don't get to get me twice, game. Oh, they got me twice. Yeah, okay, I'm okay. When he gave her the gloves, warm tears started to flow down her face.
どうしていいのかわかんなくなっちゃった。助けて、父さん。助けて。お願い。
Suzaha's shoulders shook as the tears poured down. I turned my eyes toward the time machine, a silhouette in the darkness.
俺はもう乗らないって決めたんだ。
No matter what Daru said, no matter how Suzaha threatened me, I wasn't going back to the past. I can't look back. The next thing she knew, Suzaha was inside the time machine, wrapped up in a blanket. She must have been crying a lot, because she hadn't even noticed that she'd come inside the time machine, or that Rintaro had left. Her dad was next to her. He was also wrapped up in a blanket, and he was looking at her.
落ち着いた？
Fuck off! Stop!
今何時？
She wiped away the tears as she asked.
もうすぐ日付が変わるよ。
ごめん。こんな時間まで付き合わせて。
平気平気。前にも言ったっしょ。父さんのこといくらでも頼っていいのだぜって。
うん。
Time machine's hatch was still open, and cold air was pouring in. Each time they spoke, they could see their breath turn white. The machine was still silent. They could use the life support system in the cockpit to keep out the cold, but she didn't want to waste the energy. She rubbed her cheeks with her glove-covered hands. The gloves Yuki gave her were very warm, and her hands were the one part of her that wasn't cold.
僕さ、いつか必ずオカリンも僕らと一緒に、いや違うな。僕らの先頭に立って指揮を取ってくれるって信じてるんだよね。
Suzaha was a little surprised to see Itaru speaking seriously. Normally, all Itaru ever did was screw around.
未来ガジェット研究所はオカリンがいてこそだから。今はちょっと腐ってるけどきっと立ち直る。同時に法王院京馬もよみがえるわけ。不死鳥の名は伊達じゃない的な、中二病オツ的な。
Oh my god, I love this so much.
その時が来たら多分オカリンは 自分からタイムマシンに乗るよ。鈴葉に言われなくってもね。
Suzuha realized Itaru was trying to make her feel better. Suddenly, deep in her heart, she felt a little warmer.
父さん、すごく恥ずかしいこと言ってるの自覚してる？
うわ、ですよね。オカリン本人の前じゃ口が裂けても言えないな。
私、明日までに手紙書くよ。オカリンおじさんに。直接顔見て話すとまた変な感じになっちゃうから。ごめんなさいっていうのと。
Acting weird. That's a really... It's a really, it's a really nice way of saying pointed a gun at him and shot a bullet at him. Sorry for acting weird.
もうちょっとだけもがいてみるって。だからオカリンおじさんにも考えてみてほしいって。そうは言っても実はもうあんまり時間はないんだけど。
時間ないって？ロシアが実験を開始したから？
実はタイムマシンを制御してる量子コンピューターの内蔵電池もうすぐ切れそうなんだ。
マジ？
前に話したよね。かがりを探すために1998年から何度もマシンを使ったって。それは当初の計画にはなかった行動なんだ。当然マシンを制御するコンピューターの使用回数も予定より多くなって。
それでバッテリーが消耗したっつうことか。
マシンそのものの燃料よりそっちの方が深刻なんだよ。マシンを正確に制御してジャンプさせることが難しくなる。
バッテリーだったら交換とか充電とかすればいいんじゃね？
無理だよ。
ちょっとだけその内蔵電池見させてもらっていいかな？
Suzuha nodded and pointed to a piece at the core of the machine. Itaru leaned his huge body forward to take a look, but soon he gave out a moan of confusion.
なんぞこれ。
The battery was the same size as a car's, but it was the product of 2036's technology, and Itaru lived in the year 2010. There was probably no way he could understand it. From Itaru's perspective, it might as well have been a black box of unknown technology. A quick look wouldn't tell him anything about how it was built or how it would work. That was one reason why Suzuha had agreed to let him look at it.
2010年の技術で何とかするのは無理だと思う。言うなればそれは使い切りの電池と同じ状態ってこと。充電も交換もできない。
この時代のバッテリーか発電機に乾燥するのは？
Suzuha shook her head helplessly.
とっくに試したよ。でも不可能だった。ルミ姉さんに頼んで車のバッテリーを用意してもらったんだ。トラックとかに積まれてる大きなやつ。繋いでみたら1秒持たなかった。
なんだと？
ガソリンを使う発電機も試してみたけどそれもダメだった。ガソリンが何ガロン必要なのか見当もつかない。だいたいそんな量のガソリンマシンには積めないし。ルミ姉さんね、ものすごく無理をしてくれて最新の燃料電池まで手に入れてくれたんだよ。
But even that wasn't good enough.
未来の技術ってすげえのな。こんな小さなものがそんな大電力を賄ってるっつうわけ？
Itaru was staring in amazement at the futuristic battery.
SF 映画みたく生ゴミを電気に変えられたらな。で、このバッテリーあとどれくらい持ちそうなん？
多分あと1回か2回ジャンプしたらそれで終わり。
たったそれだけ？
しかもこうやってマシンが停止してる間もさ、重力場や座標点の計測装置なんかはずっと動いてるから。 ジャンプしなくてもいずれ電池切れになる。残ったバッテリーで正確なジャンプをするにはあと半年が限界だろうね。マキセ・クリスを救いに行けるタイミングもそこまでってことになる。
Uzaha grabbed onto Itaru's back and took a deep breath. It was squishy and it felt good.
バッテリーが切れてマシンのコントロールを失ったらどうなるんだろう。
He would be the best hugger. Like, he's the ultimate hug machine.
カーブラックホールの制御も効かなくなるし、イベントホライゾンの向こうから永遠に戻ってこられないとか。
縁起でもないこと言ったらダメだお。
ごめん。でもそこってさ、どんな場所なのかな。今みたいに静かな時間が永遠に続くのかな。だったらそれでもいいな。
As she clung to her father's warm back, Suzuha started to feel very sleepy. If she let her guard down for a moment, she was sure to fall asleep. She had been trained to fight it on the battlefield, but this wasn't the battlefield, and she was exhausted from crying. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad to let herself sleep once in a while. She sat down and held her knees like a child, then softly closed her eyes.
そっか。結局鈴葉はこの夏までに必ず行っちゃうんだな。たとえオカリンがどんな結論を出すとしても。
Just before she fell asleep, she thought she heard her father talking to himself.
これはまさにパラダイス。
Hey, look, it's the best character in the game. No, that's still my Eri, but golly gosh, Maho is the best. She is one of the best. I don't know. Maho's eyes were shining like a little girl's. Not many girls would look like that if you brought them to a place like this. Also, Amadeus is here, just chilling. I was the one who brought her here, but she seemed to have forgotten about me entirely. She was wandering down the narrow corridors where all the computer parts were, as if in a daze. And she came to a stop in front of one of them. Inside the shop were lots of little plastic bins filled with junk parts of all sizes. They'd been taken off discarded PCs and appliances. Each of them was obviously dirty, and lots of them were covered in dust.
これ一体何の基盤かしら。まるで美術品みたいに美しいパターンをしているわ。しかもアルミナ基盤だなんて。
Oh my god, I love her so much. Oh my god, she's so cute. How many times have I said that phrase this fucking stream? Oh.
IFX008 イメージセンサーですって。信じられない。博物館にあってもおかしくないものがなんでこんなところに転がっているの。おお。秋葉原、歴史に勝る場所だわ。
Watching the ecstasy on Maho's face creeped me out a little. You, sir, do not deserve to see it.
マホ先輩は実はこういう人なのよ。
Kurisu spoke from inside my phone. Maho had said she wanted to go out with Kurisu today. And so I ended up going on a strange date with two girls at once. This might be another test of Amadeus's capabilities.
俺もここは何度か来たことがあるが、あんな顔してパーツをめでる人間にはこれまで一人しかお目にかかったことがない。
わかった。橋田さんのことでしょ。
ああ。
早 すがにあの人と同類扱いするのは先輩がかわいそうよ。あんたの話を聞く限りだと橋田さんってとんでもない変態だから。
そうだな。ヒアジョさんに失礼だった。
It was early afternoon on a Sunday. There was a reason I'd come with Maho to a computer parts shop. Dr. Leskinen and Maho were heading back to America in a few days. She was leaving soon, so she wanted me to show her around Akihabara like I'd promised. That was what her message had said. So we met in front of the station in the morning, and I asked her where she wanted to go. This was the result. By the way, our first stop was Yodobashi, and our second, Soft Map. I had already taken her to a lot of used PC and retro PC shops tucked away in tiny alleys.
ヒアジョさんはこういうパーツが好きなのか？
パーツというか組み立てるものが好きなのね。子供の頃は日本製のプラスティックモデルをよく作ったわ。
ゲルマニウムラジオなんかも組み立てた口ですか？
ハンダ付けでよくやけどをしたものよ。
私もです。
みんな同じなのね。
Probably not everybody. Actually, I'd assumed that it was a minority of people who soldered in their homes growing up.
ずっと見ていたい。どうして私もっと早くここに来なかったのかしら。
Made it through the film. Nice! Way to go! I don't know whether to say congratulations or I'm sorry, but definitely one of those two. It felt like she was never going to leave unless I dragged her out. I finally managed to succeed in getting her away from the parts shop by telling her it was time to eat. Wasn't that bad? Okay, well, then we'll go with congratulations. Well done. I don't know. I'm glad it wasn't absolute torture, at least. We went out to the main road. This area was close to the station, so it was especially crowded. Thanks to the crowds of people waiting to cross the street, you couldn't even walk in a straight line. I see. I mean, I'm kind of done with them. I think I said I haven't watched any of them. I just, you know, some people like them. That's fine. You like what you like. They look like the last thing I would want to watch. Now then, where to eat? My first idea was Mei Queen Yan Yan, but after the way she reacted last time, it was probably best to avoid it. Still, Sampo wasn't a good choice for someone new to Akihabara. Gansen? Or maybe Kitchen Jiro? Go-Go Curry would work too. Gotcha, that makes sense. I think I have like a grand total of like 5 DVDs. I don't have a lot of them. I think I own more VHS tapes than I do DVDs, which is kind of hilarious. As I stood there thinking, Maho stopped moving in front of the arcade directly ahead of us. 7, Jesus Christ, that's a lot. How do you have room for all that? I don't think I could fit 700 DVDs in the entirety of my storage space. Like, that's crazy. I mean, great, happy for you, but also, yikes. Evidently, she was looking at the crane games on the first floor. Oh. Big ass. They don't have any shelves. My biggest storage space is like the top of my dresser back there, and that's where I keep my Persona 3 shrine. I nodded. Maho walked up to the crane game and pressed her face against the glass like a little kid. Inside the glass were characters from @channel memes, all of different sizes. Maybe Maho was a secret @channeler like Kurisu. Steins Gate Shrine. I don't have enough room for one. Like I said, that's all I got. I have like some metal posters up there. I've got other things. They were pretty close, so it was possible. Oh my god, the Upas. Oh my god, the Upas. Give me the Upas. I want all of the Upas. Give me the green one. I want the green one. I leaned over to Maho and whispered a magic spell into her ear. Oh my god. Is it the one?
Nurupo.
Hi?
I just confused her.
何そのぬるっていうのは。
Nope. The answer is nope. It's cute images. Yeah, absolutely. Share the cuteness. That is my like #1 priority these days is cuteness. Speaking of cuteness, Maho. I think I just love her. Just, you know that awkward moment when you fall in love with a fictional character? It's we're here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived. Oh my god. I love it. Here, oh my god, I love it. Hold on, let me do the thing. Whoops, that's not right. Ignore that. Ignore that. Ignore that completely. That didn't happen. Stop. Nope. That was the... What are you talking about? Nothing happened. Let me share these with the world. There we go. That's the correct thing to do. Completely unimportant what just happened. There. That one. Dude, I love that one. That's great. Ignore that. Oh man, one of these days, I'm gonna end up fucking doxing myself hard. And it's gonna be fucking... Dude, that's so cute. I love that. And then, this Meyer cosplay is like genuinely incredible. Stop that. That's awesome. That's amazing. That's crazy. Like all right. Anyways. Dude, could you imagine if there was a yeah, that I've seen like some incredible like Kurisu cosplay. Cosplay in general. I would love to do that someday. You know, I'm not cute enough yet, but someday maybe. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I would love like a Steins Gate spin-off. That's, yeah, like with where it's all chibi and shit. Like the do you ever watch Hatalia? It's I watched it at one point. I don't remember how much of it I watched, but there was like, it would like do this thing where it was like the show, and then it would like, there would be like these parts where it was like a chibi version. It's like a comedy anime. It's the idea is it's like all the countries of the world, but they're like anthropomorphized, not anthropomorphized, humanized, right? Would that be? They're people. They're people that represent like the countries of the world, and it's really funny. Hold on, let me pull up a picture or something, like a screenshot or something. So I'm not fucking losing my mind. Like if I remember correctly, the main focus is like Italy and Germany are like the main focus of a lot of the episodes. Oh god. Whoops. Yeah. Just double check and make sure. Sort of Berlin recently. Oh, that's cool. That's on my list. Like my current list of travel destinations. I did not know that. That is interesting. My list of travel destinations I would love to go to are Japan, Italy, Germany. I had a fourth and I forgot what it was. Anyways. Yeah, here's a... Okay, so it's like... that. I love... I really appreciate the fact that they decided not to go with the really obvious making America like super fat. I appreciate that. They didn't go for the really obvious joke. Although if I remember correctly, he loves hamburgers. So super better. No, I think he's just a dude. He's just a average build, but again, I think he really likes hamburgers is his thing. I haven't watched it in a bajillion years, but that sounds right. And then Italy's just like the goobiest goober, and then constantly bothering Germany. It's really funny. It's really funny. Yeah. Part Italian. That's yeah. I don't know what I'm part a lot of things. I think I'm part Italian, part Irish, part I think I have some I forgot what it was. Those are the main two, and it's weird because my last name, I'm not gonna say what it is, but my last name is German, but I don't think I have any German in me because it's I believe the name, if I remember what I heard correctly, or what my dad told me, my last name comes from my dad's adoptive grandfather, so it's German, but I don't have any German. it's interesting. More. I mean, there's a reason all these Kirby's are here. Oh. Yeah, no, yeah, I got a lot of stuff. There's probably more. I can't think of them off the top of my head. All right, I'm gonna continue Steins game. Big Kirby. America. In America. All right. No what? No po.
なんでもない。忘れてくれ。
That's really funny. She's not of the secret. Carissa was glaring cold daggers at me from inside the smartphone, but I decided to ignore it.
ヒアジョさん、そのぬいぐるみ欲しいのか？
可愛いじゃない。ねえ、クリス。
I see. Well then, good luck.
先輩？何？どうして慌てているの？
She's like, oh, no, I have no idea what that is. Whatever could that be? I am definitely not familiar with this. What is it? Hat channel? I have no idea.
さっきパーツが好きって言ってたから、感性としては男に近いのかもって思ってた。
Over mixture? What? I don't, I'll try not to die of it, but also I don't know what that is. It's gonna be difficult or easy, I don't know.
岡部、デリカシーないわね、あんたは。もっとうまいこと言いなさいよ。ギャップが素敵だとかなんとか。
Oh my god. Curry says
すまない。
いいわよ別に。実はね、このぬいぐるみクリスがベッドルームに置いていたのよ。
おー、busted!
そうなのか？
おー、busted! Alright, see you later.
先輩
busted!
もしかして通販か何かでアメリカまで取り寄せてたのか？
別にどうだっていいでしょ。
さすが隠れアットチャンネラーだな。
何よ、アットチャンネラーって聞いたことない。
ヌルポ。
Love it. Busted! Even as part of Amadeus, she hadn't changed a bit.
ヒアジョさん、クリスはこれがなんていうキャラなのか教えてくれたか？
いいえ、何度か聞いてみたけど永遠とはぐらかされたわ。
だろうな。
だからずっと気になっていたのよ。岡部さんは知っているの？
ま
あ。岡部。
Chill ran down my spine as I heard the angry voice from the smartphone.
俺も知らないんだ。
そう。
Sheesh, I defended your honor, Kurisu. You better be grateful.
ちょっと挑戦していいかしら。
Maho took her wallet out of her pocket and put a 100 yen coin into the machine.
このアームを左右と前後に操作してぬいぐるみをつかめばいいのね。
もしかして初めてなのか？
真帆先輩はレースゲームしかやらないですもんね。
そういうこと。
Maho nodded and pushed the control button, managing to move the arm directly over her target. She smiled, satisfied.
簡単なものね。あとはアームが降りて勝手に掴んでくれるんでしょ？
あ、いや、普通はそうなんだが。
The arm went straight for the doll, but the angle was slightly off and it didn't grab it right.
おかしいわ。どういうことなの？
I love her so much. Oh my god. That's what happens your first time. Maho gave it several more tries, but she didn't seem to get the hang of it. She groaned and took her last 300 yen to the back of the arcade. She walked over to a game with a red and white two-tone Formula 1 car on the side of the cabinet. She slid inside, still angry. I remembered that one was a CG racing game based off real circuits.
岡部。岡部。
なんだ？
ここは男らしさを見せるところよ。
God, Grace. She's trying so hard.
男らしさ？
先輩の代わりにあんたがぬいぐるみを手に入れなさいっていうこと。
ああ、なるほど。
And then give it to Maho was what she was trying to say. Manliness aside, after seeing how badly she wanted it, I did want to try and help her. I took some coins out of my pocket and checked how much money I was carrying. Man, Okabe's the best. He's such a sweetheart. It's weird that he's being a sweetheart without like the deflection the Hoin Kyoma deflection of like, no, I'm being nice, but also it's part of my evil plan. No, he's just being a nice guy, because that's who he is on the inside. He's just the bestest.
とはいえ、俺もこういうゲームは得意じゃないんだが。
Even so, I was sure I could do better than Maho. May as well give it a try. I mean, if Maho's... That startled me. Okay, that's clever. Very clever usage of visual assets. Steins Gate 0. Very, very clever. Like, honestly, like, that's really good. And so, after trying several times, whether it was luck or skill, I managed to get the stuffed animal easier than I'd expected.
Yes.
Was I saying something first? I think I was saying something. I was in the middle of saying something, I forgot what it was. Not important. I stuffed it into a bag and went back to the racing game Maho was playing. For some reason, there was a crowd of about 10 people around it.
すっげえ、あの子何者だよ。
俺に聞くなって。
小学生か？ありえないテクだぞ。これレコード出るんじゃね？
The crowd was whispering to one another. All of them seemed to be amazed. I made my way into the crowd and looked at the screen. The game Maho was playing was one of those where you had to clear each stage in a set time or else it would be game over. With each race, the course got more and more difficult, and she was placing first every time with ease. As the crowd watched in awe, she finally made it to the end of the last stage, well ahead of the other racers, and she'd set a new record. She had a satisfied smile on her face as she looked at the flashy "Congratulations" graphic on the ending screen. Then she noticed the crowd around her and her body jerked.
おめでとうございます。当店のベストレコードです。
An arcade employee walked over to Maho and started to clap. And the crowd started to clap as well. He's... Nope, not gonna say it again. I've already said it. I said it already. It's good. It's already been established. Maho's face went beet red. I should probably help her. I pushed my way through the crowd and grabbed her hand to pull her up.
行こう。
I'd never seen her this obedient before. This fucking face. We made our way through the hustle and bustle and finally got out of the arcade. Maho sighed in relief.
うかつだったわ。
何が？
つい熱くなってしまって本気を出してしまったの。
これのせいか？
I handed her the bag with my prize in it.
何？
She opened the bag and took out the stuffed animal.
これ取れたの？
運が良くてね。君にプレゼントするよ。
いいの？
俺が持ってても仕方ない。
そう？じゃあ遠慮なくいただくわ。
Maho hugged the doll tight to her chest with the innocent smile of a child. Seeing how happy she was made me happy too.
クリスが亡くなった後ね。お母さんから形見をいろいろともらったわ。けどこれはクリスがとても可愛がっていたからってお母さん自分のベッドルームに飾っていたのよ。
If you didn't know it was from an @channel meme, it was actually pretty cute. I could see her keeping it as a memory of her daughter.
だけどクリスの実家がね、ああいうことになってぬいぐるみも燃えてしまったと思うの、きっと。
先輩、
だからこれはアメリカのお母さんにプレゼントしていいかしら。
もちろん喜んでもらえるならそれが一番いい。
ありがとう。
さてと次はどうする？他に見てみたいところはあるか？と言ってもアニメやゲームのショップなんかは興味ないよな。
クリス、悪いけどしばらく岡部さんと二人きりにしてくれる？
先輩、ついに自分の気持ちに素直になることにしたんですね。岡部、ちゃんとしなさいよ。
はあ？
先輩、頑張って。それじゃ
ヒア城さん？
行きたい場所もう一つあるんだけれど。
そうか。どこだ？
Is it someplace she didn't want Kurisu knowing about?
あそこよ。わかるでしょ？
Smile was gone from Maho's face. She looked like she'd come to some kind of decision. And then I realized where she wanted to go.
ラジカンに連れて行って。
Radican. And she wanted me to take her there. I understood immediately. Because that was where Makise Kurisu had died. I'd gone up to the roof several times since then. The time machine was there, and Suzuha and Daru would go up once in a while to do maintenance. Just a few days ago, Suzuha had called me out there and pointed a gun in my face. But even so, I'd never been to that storeroom on the 8th floor where it had happened. I couldn't bring myself to do it. Just remembering what happened was enough to cause a severe flashback. There was no way I could visit the site of her death.
大丈夫？ずいぶん顔色が悪いけれど。
Oh, just severely traumatic just PTSD and flashbacks and vomiting. Don't worry, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
クリスのこと思い出してしまうの？
Violent, aggressive vomiting.
そうだろうな。
辛いならついてこなくてもいいわ。私一人で行くから。
But her face was colorless. Going there had to be hard on her, too. But even so, she was trying to come to grips with Kurisu's death. I wanted to help her remember our friend. Radican was going to be renovated. There wasn't a lot of time.
いや、一緒に行くよ。
Half of the shops had already been moved to other buildings to make way for the renovation. But many of the shops on the 7th floor were still open. Six months ago, on July 28th, I killed Kurisu on the floor just above where I was standing. With my own hands.
ここなの？
いや、事件があったのはこの上の階だと聞いている。
I wasn't supposed to have been at the scene of Kurisu's death. I had already asked Mayuri and Daru not to tell anyone.
上には何が？
イベント会場と、あとは倉庫とかになってる。
行ってみてもいいのかしら？
今は立ち入り禁止のはず。
But the rope that always blocked off the way to the 8th floor wasn't there today. I could hear loud voices and laughter from above. Since it was a day off, there must have been some kind of event going on upstairs.
大丈夫そうね。
Maho headed up the stairs first. I slowly dragged myself up the stairs. We passed by the event hall and into the back. It looked like there was no one around. Nothing had changed in 6 months.
ここだ。
There were no lights on, and the place seemed dark and lonely. This time, the storeroom was locked.
そう。こんな場所で。
I could see her lips trembling as she whispered. It seemed strange. This was the place where Kurisu had died, covered in blood, and yet, nearby, the rest of the world continued on like it didn't care. And now I'd come back, even though this was the place where the one I had loved had died.
もどかしいわ。私は物理学者ではないから相対性理論のことを詳細に理解しているわけではないけれど、時間と空間が同列だというのなら、なぜ空間と同じように時間も容易に移動できないのかしらね。
Oh, Mom!
今私たちは空間的にはクリスの死と同じ軸上にいるのよ。なのに時間軸がほんの少しずれているというだけで手出しすることすら叶わない。
Don't go down this rabbit hole, Maho!
あなたこの前クリスにアマデウスの方だけど面白い質問をしたわよね。タイムマシンは作れるかどうかって。
ああ。
ぜひ研究してみてほしいわ。真っ先に私が友人テストに名乗り出るから。
I couldn't tell from the tone of her voice if she was serious or joking. She laughed sadly. Time machines are real, you know, and there's one right above us. What would she do if I told her that? Would she blame me for giving up on saving Kurisu and say she'd go back to the past herself?
岡部さん、クリスが亡くなった時の状況について教えてくれない？私、詳しくは知らないの。
俺だってろくに知らないよ。前にそう話さなかったか？
でもアメリカにいた私よりは詳しいでしょ。クリスはどうしてこんなところに来たのかしら。クリスが死んだ時、すぐそこのイベントホールでは今日みたいにイベントが行われていたそうね。
You could hear the occasional sounds of laughter coming from the event hall.
中鉢博士、去年の夏ニュースになった。ロシアに亡命してタイムマシンに関する論文を書いたって。その論文の内容はそれはひどいものだったらしいけれど、ただそれでピンときたのよ。アメリカのクリスの家に放火した連中もロシア語を話していた。これ偶然かしら。私は何らかの関連性があると思う。だから中鉢博士について調べようと思ったんだけど、不思議なことに驚くほど情報がないのよ。ネットで検索しても本名すら出てこない。中鉢博士について言及しているブログやサイトを見に行ってもほとんどは閉鎖してるわ。しかもこの半年ほどで立て続けに。ねえ、一体クリスの周りで何が起きていたの？もしかして今もまだそれは続いているの？あなたは何を隠しているの？
Her eyes were pure and sought the truth. Kurisu used to get that exact same look in her eyes all the time. But
好奇心で足を突っ込まない方がいい。俺はもうたくさんだ。
今さらだわ。私は片足を突っ込んでしまっているのよ。それに考えてしまうのよ。この前襲われたのももしかすると私のせいじゃないかって。
君のせい？狙われる理由があるのか？
私は。
then she paused for a moment.
私はクリスの遺産を持っている。
Belongings? Some of Kurisu's belongings. What did she mean? Maho had said that after Kurisu died, she'd gone to her home in America and received some of her belongings from her mom. Was she saying now that the attack was because of that? My mind began to race. Russia. Where Dr. Nakabachi had sought asylum. I want to see this motherfucker's smug fucking shit-eating face again. Get him out of here. People who attacked Kurisu's home spoke Russian. And just a few days ago, the Russians, probably, had experimented with changing the past. Suzuha had said that World War III would be set off by the time machine. The time machine. Nakabachi's paper. The paper he'd written about the time machine. The cause of World War III. A miraculous, nightmarish paper which would cause the deaths of 5.7 billion people. The time machine he discussed at his press conference was a ripoff of John Teeter's. But the one in his paper was different. I'd never managed to read it though. But my guess was that Kurisu had showed him the original that she'd written on July 28th, and his paper was an inferior copy. Kurisu had written down instructions for making a time machine. I shuddered. I quickly booted up the Rind program on my smartphone. I paged through my chat logs. That hard drive and that laptop contained the data for the original version of Nakabachi's paper, or more accurately, Kurisu's paper.
Daru のところに持ち込まれたクリスのノート PC とハードディスク。まさかあれの解析を依頼したのは。
I looked at Maho. She looked back at me without smiling. And she nodded.
ええ、私よ。
From Maho's perspective, there were too many things about Kurisu's death that didn't make sense. Maybe that was why she decided to look into why Kurisu was killed. Of course, she'd assumed there were hints hidden inside her laptop and hard drive. But if my hypothesis was right, that laptop was too dangerous to be allowed to exist. It was Pandora's box, with the power to unleash World War III.
どうして隠していた？
最初はあなたと橋田さんの関係を知らなかった。橋田さんに頼んだのは本当に偶然よ。そしてあなたはクリスのことについて何か隠しているように思えた。そんなあなたに正直に全て話せるわけないでしょ。信用していないというわけではないのだけど、クリスのことについては慎重になった方がいいと思って。
ああ、それについては正解だよ。アマデウスのテスターになることを反対しなかったのもそういう打算があってのことか。
打算なんて言わないで。
Lot.
私はただクリスの友達であるあなたのことをもっと知りたかった。
クリスの秘密を手に入れるために。
あの子のことをもっと知りたかったのよ。
She glared right back, as if challenging me.
ダルはもう解析したのか？
まだよ。だからアメリカに帰る前に最後にもう一度あなたと話をしようと思ったの。
So that's why she'd brought me here. I needed to call Daru right now. Well, I guess I can do that, sure. Daru. Yo, we have actual. I just realized. So I kept saying this in the first game that like it was. I always found it funny that the only person in his contacts list that was listed under a real name was Mayuri. But now he has Suzuha as Suzuha instead of part-time warrior. Daru, Lukako, and Ferris are still you know, not. But Amane Yuki, that is her real name. Hiajo Maho, that's her real name. And these why I need to call Daru right now. Instinctively clicks Mayuri.
はい、もしもし。
今ラボにいるか？
いや、
じゃあどこにいる？
家で絶賛エロゲ中。どうかしたん？
Daru, stop it.
お前の裏のバイトの件で話がしたい。
あ、あれか。なんかマキセ氏の情報を思い出した？
ああ。
Of course, that was a lie. He could be in danger if I didn't get that laptop back right now. I glanced over at Maho.
じゃあさ、LINE で送ってもらえるかな？
直接会って話をしよう。ラボで合流できないか？
今手が離せないから夕方でもいい？
エロゲなんて後でいくらでもできるだろう。
さあせん、家でエロゲしてるってのは嘘。実は今バイト中で手が離せないんだよね。
Saws. Hold on, what is fucking saws? Net slang is short for sorry. Often used in conjunction with lol or other common net slang, e.g., fwee saws lol. I want to shoot myself after saying that. And although it is indeed an apology, it is often used in order to tease or provoke the other party instead.
バイト?
Well, I was lying to him, so I didn't really have room to talk.
じゃあ、本当はどこにいる？手が離せないなら、こっちから行く。とにかく今すぐに話したい。
あんまオカリンには教えたくなかったんだけどな。やばげな仕事も多いから。まあいいや、わかった。これから言うところに来てよ。
The location he gave me was still in Akihabara. It was less than 5 minutes away. Down an alley, a few turns off the main strip, and all the hustle and bustle of the crowd completely disappears. We were on the 7th floor of an old mixed-use building. We were in Akihabara, at the center of Tokyo, in the middle of the day on Sunday, and still the alleyway we'd come in seemed lonely and abandoned. Oh my god, my brain is fried. My brain is frying itself. There, we found the shop Daru had told us about. Oh my lord. There was a cute anime-style sign on the steel door that read, Cosplay Media at Akihabara. We're open. Come on in. Oh my lord. I'm out shopping with Luka-kun. Do you want to come join us, Okabe-san? Where are you? I'll meet up later. Sorry, a bit busy now. I'm gonna say, I'll meet up later. Can I send a emoji? No, okay. Really? Where are you now? Akihabara. Then should we meet you in Akihabara once we're done shopping? No, I'm heading home once I'm done. Meet me there. Don't come to Akihabara under any circumstances. That's subtle. Why? Because I say so. Just wait for me. But if I don't contact you by evening, give up and go home. Got it? What happened? Don't worry, I'm fine. If you say so, Ocarine. We'll wait until evening. See you later, okay? Oh no, there were no stickers? I wanted to see some of those stickers. Alright. What the fuck? Dude, the store was jammed full of cosplay outfits. The wall near the entrance held the new arrivals corner and the popular cosplay sections, as well as cosplay wigs, ribbons, jewelry, and props. The other wall held the used outfit section and a shoe section stocked with socks, school shoes, heels, and boots. Even further back, I could see rows of school swimsuits and competition swimming outfits. It looked like the place. Hold on, I'm gonna look at a bunch of these tags. Hold on. I feel like there's a reference in here somewhere. There's got to be like a Chaos Head reference in here somewhere or something, right? This one kind of looks like could be Nanami, right? I don't know. That's I don't know. Give me like 5 more seconds. Alright, I'm done. It looked like the place sold mainly to girls, but this clearly wasn't a location where women would feel comfortable. The other tenants in the building were all shady shops with names like Drops of the Spirit God Inc., Space Radio Receiver Sales, and Flower Petal Video Project. Fucking what? The fuck do they sell?
いいえ、前に会った時は別の雑居ビルだったから同じような怪しいお店だったけれど。
そうか。
I felt like I'd seen Daru's dark side. I mean, how many dark sides does this man have? The shop was completely silent. There were no customers other than us. There was a thin man with long hair at the counter who looked like he worked there, but he didn't even raise his head up from his magazine when we came in. To be honest, ever since I'd entered, I'd worried that someone would think I was up to something illegal. Anybody who saw me would think I was a pervert taking a middle school girl to a shady cosplay shop.
Oi, Okarin, こっち!
Daru appeared from the back of the shop. What? I missed half of that. There had been no sign of him a second ago.
ボタンも一緒だったんだね。
そのマホタンというのやめてくれないかしら。
なんで？かわいいじゃん。
バカにされている気分だわ。
そんなことよりダル、お前どこから出てきた？
The man at the counter hadn't said anything, which meant they knew he was here.
とりあえずこっち。
Daru headed to the back of the store. One of the rows of hanger racks holding idol cosplay outfits was pulled forward, and behind it I could see a curtain. Past the curtain was a tiny space that led to a door marked staff only. Secret passage. The hanger rack hadn't been moved. I'd have had no idea this was here.
まるで忍者屋敷ね。
Behind the door was a cramped office. Oh my god, the fucking figurines. The fucking... Oh my lord. Jesus Christ. Behind the door was a cramped office. Well, no, the room itself may have been pretty big, but the darkness made it feel very cramped. It was honestly hard to breathe. There were 4 desks in the center surrounded by metal racks. The desks and floor were piled high with all manner of computers and peripherals. Just looking at these fucking figurines. Magazines. Cola. I fucking love it. There were boxes and bags littered everywhere. I couldn't tell if they were trash or not. There were towers of magazines, games, plastic models, and figure boxes. And the desk was covered in garbage, just like the one at the lab. It was too dark to tell, but I was sure the figures he had on display were covered in dust. What did he need 6 monitors for anyway? Each of them displayed an image of the store. Evidently, it was footage from a security camera. Given the size of the store and the lack of customers, even 3 cameras would have been too many.
ま、適当に座って。
座れる場所なんてないぞ。
今スペース作るを。
Daru kicked aside the boxes on the floor to make room, then sat down 2 folding chairs.
お前、この店とはどういう関係なんだ？
バイトリーダーみたいなもんかな。結構こういうアングラな店のバイト掛け持ちしてるんだよね。でさ、たまに事務所を個人的に使わせてもらってるわけ。
裏のバイトのためにか？
そういうこと。
Maybe there was a lot more to Daru than I thought.
ここにあるものは全部お前の私物か？
いや、他のバイトのみんなとの共有財産的なやつ。さすがにこんなにたくさん買えるほどお金持ってないし。
おう。
Or so he said, but who knew if that was true? Yellow?
なんだ？
あんたまだ真帆先輩と一緒よね。
ああ、一緒だが。
どうかしたの？
レスキネン教授からたった今聞いたんですが、和光市のオフィスが何者かに荒らされたって。
え？
あと真帆先輩のホテルからも連絡が来て、そっちも誰かに侵入されたみたいです。
なんですって？
すぐにレスキネン教授からも連絡があるはずですけど、少しでも早く知らせた方がいいと思って。
ありがとうクリス。ヒアジョーさんのことは俺とダルで見てるから大丈夫だ。
そうね、頼むわ。それじゃ。
Maho looked down and bit her lip.
懸念していたことが現実になったな。狙いは間違いなくクリスのノート PC とハードディスクだ。
え、マジで？
場所を変えた方がいいかもしれない。
ここは安全だと思うけど。
なんとなく嫌な予感がするんだ。勘みたいなものだ。
わかったお。
それでノート PC とハードディスクはどこに？
Daru sighed and grabbed a locked, fire-resistant case off of one of the racks. He opened it. Is that where he hid it? The laptop was a deep red Japanese model with a 12-inch LCD screen. The hard drive was American, from a brand known for equipping its hard drives with shock-resistant rubber cases.
それを持って急いで出よう。
Both Maho and Daru nodded silently. As soon as we left the building, I could see a car coming down the empty alleyway. It was a big American RV. We quickly hid ourselves in the shadow of another building. My intuition was right. The RV stopped in front of the building we just left. 3 men came out. None of them were Japanese. They were all dressed in black suits, almost like MIBs. Whatever they weren't Akihabara tourists.
間一髪だったな。
Maho went pale when she saw the men go into the building. She seemed to be shaking a little too.
こんなのまるで映画の世界だわ。とても現実とは思えない。
でもさ、あの連中は店の情報どうやって入手したんだろう。
ダルがヘマしたんじゃないのか。
僕を誰だと思ってる？
スーパーハッカーだろ。
ハッカーな。足はつかないように注意してるっつうの。
または俺とヒアジョーさんが尾行されてた可能性もあるが。
怖いこと言わないでよ。
和光市のオフィスやホテルだって荒らされたんだ。ヒアジョーさんがずっとマークされていたのは間違いない。
あ、そうだわ。
Maho seemed to suddenly remember something. She took out her smartphone and made a call.
教授に連絡しないと。
今日はどこかに身を隠すと伝えておいた方がいい。教授と合流すると教授にまで危険が及ぶかもしれない。
Maho nodded. Rintaro took Maho to Ferris Nyanyan's home. It was on the top floor of a high-rise building in the center of Akihabara. If nothing else, it was sure to be more secure than the ancient building they'd just been in. Ferris welcomed the two of them, offering them food and a place to sleep. Daru returned alone to the Future Gadget Lab to meet up with Suzuha.
このノート PC は存在するだけで災いを呼ぶだろう。
It's so weird seeing you on this side, my guy. It's so weird seeing you from the outside.
手放した方がいい。
Once they'd both calmed down, she started to talk to him about what they were going to do with Kurisu's computer. He didn't budge an inch. Usually, he was an introvert who never pushed too hard for anything, but this time he was extremely stubborn. Of course, so was Maho.
せめてロックを解除して中身について確かめたいわ。今のところそれもできずに手詰まりだけれど。
そんな悠長なことを言っている場合じゃない。今すぐ手放すべきだ。一番いいのはこの場で破壊することだが。
破壊するって、これはクリスの形見でもあるのよ。
君はもう少しロジカルな人間だと思ってた。
私はあなたがそんな冷たい人だとは思わなかった。
Maho's words made him flinch. He lost a bit of his warmth. a good chunk of his warmth died with Kurisu, unfortunately. Something bad had happened to him. That's how it seemed to her. And it was easy to assume that it had something to do with Kurisu. So she decided to ask him what she hadn't gotten to earlier during the fuss this afternoon.
あなたはクリスの事件について何か隠しているように見えるのだけれど。
俺の知ってることなんてどうでもいいような話だ。
Maho could tell he wasn't going to share. If they hadn't been interrupted this afternoon, would he have told her?
それより
Probably still no.
この PC をどうするかだ。これはもう友達の形見なんていう私的なレベルのものじゃない。国家規模での争奪戦を引き起こす代物なんだ。
一体どんな陰謀論よ。
この後に及んで陰謀論だと言い張るのか。君も見ただろう、あの黒服の外国人たちを。君の通うオフィスも寝泊まりしているホテルも荒らされた。クリスの自宅だって放火された。その放火事件の後、君の研究室に FBI を名乗る謎の男たちが調査に来た。前にホテルの駐車場で襲われたことだってもしかしたら関連があるかもしれない。普通なら絶対に遭遇しないような出来事が立て続けに起きている。これは偶然じゃない。
だからって国家規模だなんて。
The whole thing just seemed too much of a stretch for her. Trying to connect every single event was a trap that conspiracy theorists often fell into. But in fact, most things that happened didn't really mean anything. When she began to tell him that what he said next surprised her.
事態はこの先ジョン・タイターの予言通りに進むだろう。
ジョン・タイター？
If you're trying to convince her, Okabe, that was the last thing you should have said. Maho had never heard that name before.
10年前にアメリカのネット掲示板に現れた人物だよ。2036年からタイムマシンに乗ってやってきた自称未来人だ。
What's that? You think I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist? Well, let me tell you about John Teeter.
俺はそいつが本物だと知っている。会ったこともある。ジョン・タイターによれば2015年には第三次世界大戦が起きる。その原因はタイムマシンだ。
バカにしているの？
至って真面目だ。 中鉢博士のことを知りたがっていたな。奴はクリスの父親だ。中鉢論文にはクリスが関わっていた可能性がある。
なんですって。
Maho had read Dr. Nakabachi's paper out of curiosity. Last summer, he'd proudly announced on his paper on time travel to the entire world just before fleeing to Russia. The paper itself, however, was so poorly written that it was of no value whatsoever. What a fucking hack. She couldn't believe that Kurisu might have been involved in writing it. What a fucking talentless piece of shit hack.
論文は劣化版で、もしもクリス自身が書いたオリジナルが存在するとしたら、クリスの残したノート PC とポータブルハードディスク、その中身が実際のところ何なのかは関係ない。ただそれを手に入れたがっている連中がいるんだ。
ちょっと待って、少し整理させて。
Could what Rintaro was saying be true? She took a moment to think. Normally, she wouldn't give something like this a second thought, but what had been happening around her lately just wasn't normal. She couldn't outright deny it. Besides, she was nursing a conspiracy theory of her own.
私もこの PC が狙われているかもしれないという予感はしていたのよ。ただあなたの話は私の予想とはあまりにもかけ離れすぎていて。
予想とは？
アマデウスの軍事転用のことじゃないかと考えていたの。
軍事転用？
クリスは精神生理学研究所にもよく出入りしていたんだけど、時々場違いな連中がそこにやってくるって言ってたの。どうも国防総省の人じゃないかって。
アマデウスで人を殺せるのか？どうやって？
例えば百戦錬磨のパイロットから記憶データをコピーして無人戦闘機の制御に使うとか。あと以前話した医療への応用覚えてる？
人間の脳へ記憶データを書き戻すってやつかな。
そう。記憶データを修正した上で書き戻しが可能になれば、恐怖を感じない兵士やどんな非道な任務でも平然と遂行する部隊なんていう恐ろしいものまで作れてしまう。
Yeah, that's terrifying.
私はてっきりクリスがそういった実験の証拠を偶然知ってしまったんじゃないかと思っていたの。
なあ、アマデウスの研究には米軍が関与していたりはしないよな？
するわけないでしょ。
本当にそう言い切れるか？君はあくまで研究者であってプロジェクトの総責任者じゃない。
レスキネン教授だって軍に関与なんてさせないわ。
だよな。あれは別の世界線の話だし。
世界線？何のこと？
いや、忘れてくれ。俺の考えすぎだと思う。
Like how that's where he draws the line of what to share. He hadn't seemed like he really meant that. And that really bothered her. She wanted to hear more about John Teeter, but he didn't tell her anything else. Since she couldn't crack the security on Kurisu's laptop and hard drive, it did Maho no good to carry them. And just like Rintaro said, those attackers scared her. So she decided she had no choice but to give them to him. He didn't tell her whether he was going to destroy them or not.
Maho,
what a fucking shit. When she arrived at their office in Wako City, Dr. Leskinen was already there. He came over and gave her a big hug.
教授、苦しい。
おう、すまない。
Ha ha ha. She'd heard that the office had been ransacked, but whatever had happened had already been cleaned up.
教授が片付けたんですか？
荒らされたと言っても、もともと私と魔法しか使っていなかったわけだし、荷物も多くなかったからね。あとは警察に任せてある。
2 days had passed since the office had been ransacked. Maho had spent both of them at Ferris's home, and only today had she gotten in touch with Dr. Leskinen and gone to Wako City to get her things. They were both going back tomorrow, just as planned. That meant they were saying goodbye to this office.
犯人はまだ捕まっていないんですよね。
We'll miss you, office.
ああ。日本に来てから災難続きだな。
ですね。
The two of them looked around the empty office. It had been a busy 2 months.
魔法はどうだったかな。日本はもう一つの故郷でもあるわけだろう。感想は？
早く大学に戻って研究に打ち込みたいですね。この2ヶ月資料をまとめてばかりだった気がするので。
ははは。魔法は真面目だね。
それとクリスが最後の時間を過ごしたこの国の空気を感じることができたのは良かったです。
魔法。
But she still hadn't figured out why Kurisu had died. Actually, she had even more questions now. It bothered her to go home with so many questions left unanswered. If only Rintaro had told her everything he knew.
そういえば
The thought suddenly occurred to Maho.
アマデウスのテスターの件はどうします？
Of course, she meant Okabe Rintaro. If both Maho and Leskinen were headed back to America, that meant his time as a tester was over.
そうだね。
For some reason, the professor was taking a moment to think it over. She wondered what there was to think about.
テストはこのまま続けてもらおうと思っているんだが、どうだろう？
え？本気ですか？
実際、リンタロウと話すことで、クリスはこれまでにないような反応をしてみせているだろう。今後は彼だけでなく、もっと多くのテストを使っていきたいとも考えているところだし。
セキュリティの面で不安があるのでは？アメリカと日本だと離れすぎていて、何かトラブルが起きた時に対処できません。
大丈夫さ。私はリンタロウを信じているからね。
いや、信じるとか信じないという話ではなくてですね。
それにテストを継続すれば、魔法だって定期的にリンタロウと連絡を取れるよ。
私は関係ないでしょう。
そうかい？
そうですよ。
では今後のリンタロウとの連絡は私が直接取ることにしよ
う。別に構いませんよ。
It still seemed like he wasn't telling her something, but she was too embarrassed to question him further. It surprised her, though, that he was so focused on Rintaro. He seemed to have taken a real liking to him ever since the day they had first met. Did he simply like the guy, or was it because he was Kurisu's friend? Or was it something else? She didn't know. The next day, Maho and Dr. Leskinen returned to America via Narita Airport, just like they had planned. Rintaro had come to see them off, and he was very surprised when Dr. Leskinen told him he could continue being a tester. And then half a year passed. Well, this seems like a good place to stop. That's all for now. Bye, Maho. Alright, I gotta... Again, I feel like I need to say something. I don't need to say anything. Bye.